What we do here is go back. What we do here is go back. What we do here is go back.
And there we go. Hopefully we're live. Are we live? Hello. Welcome to the stream. Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. It is Saturday the 21st of October 2023. The time is approximately 2020. Do apologise for running slightly late as per usual, but hey, what do you expect when you come here? So hopefully you're all having a good evening. Hopefully you can actually hear me. Lucky Man says $10. Mike asks, all good? Are you all good? You're having a wonderful 21st of October, wherever you are. Hopefully you are. Is everything working? Let me know in the comments if we're working. I've got notes. Actually got notes. And other notes, although
I can't do YouTube, my phone won't get me, it's not updated enough.
do you want to do mine? see, I won't do it.
Actually, I can do it, can't I? The same as what you said to my mum to do.
Yeah, but you have to log in though if you're not already. You probably will be. Let's see. Anyway, let me know. Sorry.
Sorry.
Unprepared. All good, sound and vision. Excellent. Let's try the overhead. Make sure that is all working. Overhead camera. Reasonable amount of blur. Well, you can read the documents as well. Happy days. Streaming desktop. Yeah, you can probably see that. There you go. And back to the main. So, everything appears to be working. Happy days. Oh, got indigestion. Ate too fast once again. Such is life. So, key news this week. Poppy's had her kittens. So we'll be giving you all a little look at those a little bit later on. It's not going to be one of those things where it's just a stream about kittens, because there's obviously going to be some people that aren't really into kittens and they're more into tech and they don't really care. So I'm not going to put you through that for extended periods. And also it's not fair on the animals. You do have to take that into consideration. They aren't like performance toys or whatever. They are, inside those little bodies, actual little humans. So you do have to just think about their needs, and it's a human life being thing. So yeah, you've got to look after them and not just use them as a toy. Because kittens are for life, not just for Christmas, as unfortunately I always find out. So we've got some things to go through. I'll give you some of the headings. They're in the chat. Well, not in the chat. They're actually in the show notes anyway. So obviously, yeah, Poppy's had her kittens. We'll be meeting them tonight on the stream. Something else was quite a few of you actually been asking for. This is mostly for UK viewers, so for those of you outside the UK, my apologies. Here in the UK, there is a company on a website called GPUsed.co.uk, which is basically a place where you can pick up, predominantly it used to be for graphics cards, used graphics cards, but they are expanding, so there's other things available, basically all your kind of PC stuff, cases, hard drives, SSDs, RAM, processors, coolers, all that kind of stuff. So the key things that we all tend to use in our PCs for upgrading. They are also looking at potentially into other things like consoles, joysticks, gamepads, tablets, that kind of stuff. But at the moment, Max, who is the kind of CEO of the company, I've actually been in email conversation with him back and forward, finding out more about GPUs.co.uk and see what they're all about, seeing if it's a valid option for some of you guys and also me. Primarily it was for me. I just want somewhere to buy stuff that isn't CEX or isn't eBay or isn't Facebook Marketplace, because all that stuff drives me insane. So I just wanted to find a new kind of trustworthy supplier. So we'll be going through discussing that a little bit in more depth if you're interested, of course. I have already recorded a video, quite a long video, about 25 minutes long, going through the whole process of ordering the graphics card, it turning up, the unboxing, the experience, the customer service, the company's ethos and all that kind of stuff. And a very, very brief benchmark of the graphics card to make sure that it's all okay, that kind of usual stuff. So that's going to be coming out soon, probably going to be out to patrons, I think, in a day or two. So yeah, if you want to find out more about that, you can do, but we will touch on it tonight if there's interest in it, which I'm guessing there might be, but we'll see.
Yeah, can I use yours? Sorry, I can't do live chat on that, can you? I think that's the same as what Lord Erectus had.
Yeah.
There's no option for live chat.
I don't know which one you're going to. It's YouTube app, isn't it? Yeah, not studio, is it? Anyway, so there we go. Lucky Man says, stop the swearing, no CC, please.
Oh, actually, I don't really need to do it. I might as well just do it on the screen there, haven't I?
Might be easier. Oh, indigestion.
Hey, Flamey. Do you want to come and say hello?
Right. Also, RTX 4090. Some of the headlines on some other YouTube channels have been that the RTX 4090 is doubling in price, and the crazy stuff going on where it's basically they banned them from being exported to China. Really want to talk about the kind of across the board price increases that we see, especially this time of year. Absolutely nuts, where in the lead up to the holiday sales, you've got your Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's sales, etc. This is the typical time of year now in October. We've just finished having Prime Day, so now we're going into all that other stuff, and prices are being inflated. Now there's obviously going to be the other things in the world which are going on, which unless you live under a rock, you're probably aware of most of them. There are numerous wars breaking out across the globe, unfortunately. That kind of does have an impact shareholding companies all get a little bit twitchy, all that kind of stuff, and it just affects the whole financial marketplace. But that is often used also as an excuse by a lot of suppliers, manufacturers, retailers for inflating the prices artificially before sales. So I just wanted to know if any of you out there are noticing it already. I've had, I won't put a number on it, but I've had numerous people already mentioning on emails, Discord, and just in general saying, like, what is going on with pricing at the moment? It seems that everything's going up, and it seems that there are, thankfully, a whole bunch of you out there in viewerland, in the real world, who are actually noticing this and taking a bit of a stand about it and saying, look, this is ridiculous. It just keeps on happening. And it gets to a point where I think as retailers keep on doing this to us, and we're not stupid. The thing is, the internet exists. There are sites on the internet where you can find deals, like here in the UK, we've got Hot UK Deals. They've also got places you can go to analyse pricing, like Camel here in the UK. I think it probably works elsewhere. And you can monitor pricing, and if there's something which you've been looking at buying for a long time, especially in the computer industry, you can kind of get an idea. So if you've been looking, for example, for an RTX 4070, if you looked at when it came out, you saw the launch price, and you've probably been tracking it as things go on, and you can probably see where these dips and spikes have been. Artificial price fixing or scams, whatever you want to call it, I think we've all pretty much had enough of it now, but is there going to be enough of a consumer kind of backlash that this stops happening? Or is it going to be the usual thing where it basically doesn't matter what these big companies do, ultimately, if we want something, we're going to buy it, even if it is at stupid prices. Maybe not at the same volumes that we have done, but yeah, it's just one of those things that I wanted to just really discuss. It's really depressing. For me personally, as someone who tries to fill these streams and videos with content of cool new things which you can buy, which are like great value for money or are unique or whatever it is, the marketplace just seems to be contracting at such a rate that there's kind of nothing to really report on. Every now and then you get something which has been reduced in price, but quite often it just is reduced to kind of what it used to be, rather than being what we're used to seeing now. So it's a really poor time, I think. I wanted to say something else then, but I'm not going to say it. But yeah, I think it is something which is becoming a lot more prevalent and people are noticing it. So I just want to get a gauge of what you guys and girls and thems think out there. Are you pissed off with it? Is it time that we kind of just took a stand and said, look, no more. Stop doing this to us. It's ridiculous. Anyway, next thing as well, which is also kind of ridiculous, YouTube ads increasing. YouTube, for those of you again that don't know, YouTube have gone through their whole ad apocalypse thing again, like Apocalypse 2.0 or 3.0, however you market it or watch it. Every now and then it happens that something comes along with YouTube and the way that the kind of the revenue side of things works, and they have a backlash against them, much like other companies do. So YouTube themselves have had a backlash from people that are actually buying advertising from them. So you've got all these big companies which are doing all that kind of stuff.
These are a bit belated.
All right. Thanks, Kath. Kath's doing belated things.
Sorry. I'm so unorganised tonight and now my phone won't work.
Oh, for those of you that are wondering why I'm replying to the chat and I'm not.
That's me.
That's Kath. Kath's using my account at the moment because her account's a bit borked. But thank you for the super chats. I should have said this as well, actually. There was a super chat that come in, first of all, from Mick Woods, £10, which I think was on the screen. I know it is on the screen now. Excellent stuff. Thank you, Mick. Much appreciated. And there was also, I think, one came in as well from... Who was that? Just
Michael.
Scrolling through. Michael T. 10 Aussie dollars. Says, hi, Mike and Kath. For the kitty, oh bless, everyone have a great weekend, smash the like button. Thank you very much, Michael. Nice name.
I don't know where I've got to now. If I leave anyone out, I'm sorry.
So yeah, Kath's going through the questions while I'm having my my blah 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 moment. So anyway, yeah, the YouTube algorithm, they basically sold loads of adverts to companies. The adverts were supposed to be more targeted, and it seems that somewhere along the lines, whether it's human error, whether it's intentional, you can think or believe whatever you want to, but it appears that YouTube have misreported the kind of watch time, or the viewers' watch time, on certain adverts, and potentially mispriced them to the companies. And it seems that the companies have got pissed off with it, so they've said, right, this cannot happen. We didn't pay for this advertising in this region or whatever, and you seem to have just pumped out a load of adverts. So we want you to get a grip of it. So YouTube are doing that, but unfortunately, rather than them using their previous kind of scattergun or shotgun approach and just blasting buckshot everywhere, so ads go everywhere, whatever, and everyone being kind of aware of the status quo, they've now had to narrow it down. So that means now, unfortunately, they are getting more strict with ads and actually how they're reported. So if you've got a ad blocker on, some people are now being basically banned from watching videos. I think there's a 3-strike limit. So if you get the warning come up 3 times...
so that's why my app has to be updated.
Might be, yeah.
Updated.
So that is kind of basically it. If you... I'm not sure how it works on things like Chrome and that. I think it probably does work the same. But yeah, essentially, if you watch videos, you get the message coming up saying you're using an ad blocker. YouTube needs to show you ads in order to keep the platform going, etc. You get 3 warnings. After the 3rd warning, basically, you can't watch YouTube videos. So you get banned. Whether or not it's just for that session, for that amount of time, I don't know. If you've experienced this, please let us know in the chat. So it'll actually be interesting to know what the deal is. Personally, I have very, very rarely ever used an ad blocker. More times than not, it's actually just been to find content to make a YouTube video. And I appreciate there's a lot of you out there that just don't like ads. Totally fine, I get it. From my point of view, yes, they're extremely intrusive. And we mentioned this a little bit last week in the stream, that my boss in my other job won't get YouTube Premium, which would make our job faster and get customers dealt with quicker when we're researching information on YouTube, as everybody does. It is kind of like the thing, isn't it? If you need to know how to do something, normally you would ask a family member or a colleague or something like that, but these days you don't need to. You just fire up the old YouTube app, type it in, and pretty much the information is going to be there. It might not always be the right information first time, but if you go and sort the wheat from the chaff even, there's a chance that you're going to find the problem. So there you go. There's 2 super chats that have come in. I should say that.
I'm going to leave that going until you actually realise.
Kath said now she's going to leave the ball going until I actually acknowledge the super chat. So that's my fault.
Do it manually now.
That's my fault. So the first one, for those of you wondering why I'm wearing the hoodie, no, I'm not just trying to promote merch. It's freezing. Actually, well, it's not too bad actually. It's 21.5 degrees Celsius in the room at the moment, but with 70% humidity, and that humidity really does have a profound effect on how cool it feels or how cold it feels. So it's not actually cold as such, but it just feels chilly. And in a t-shirt, it's just not great. I normally like it to be about 23, 24 degrees in a room, I think, which, considering I have a fair amount of blubber covering me, you wouldn't think that temperature is a thing, but it does seem to be. Anyway, I digress. Thank you, O'Reilly, for the $9.99. It says dipping in and out of the stream. O'Reilly is in the process of reassembling his PC, doing some water cooling upgrades, so hopefully that's all going very well for you. And the other super chat was from our good friend of the channel, Lucky Man. Lucky Man's thrown $5 into the pot and says, ask me anything live stream. How big's your wanger from Bob? Well, I don't know where Bob is, so I can't measure the distance from my wanger to Bob. So that's probably not what you meant by that question, but you can ask me anything. I would say it depends on the temperature. And currently it's below the normal temperature, so there's some shrinkage going on. Probably best not to answer that one in a stream. David Andrew says it's 10.8 degrees, it feels like 10.7, and it's heading towards 35 Celsius today. 35 Celsius, oh my God. There's been so much talk recently in the bygone months of global warming and how the temperatures are crazy. I'm probably going to be in the minority here, Or maybe I'm not. I'm maybe just the silent majority. But for me, this summer, and even the spring, has been an absolute washout. It's been really chilly. We've never had those really, really nice warm summery days. There was maybe one or two, but most of the time it was just either damp, miserable, cloudy, humid. It's just been generally pretty piss poor. Not enjoyed this spring, summer and autumn. It's been mild, but we've never had that really enjoyable thing. Like a couple of years ago, we had weeks and weeks where it was like 26, 27 degrees every day. It was glorious, absolutely great. All the plants in the garden were growing. We were spending time out there.
Every single night.
Yeah, this year
This year
we very rarely had to even water the plants. It's been so damp and horrible. So yes, absolutely crap.
Every cloud and all that. It's been lovely for the slugs and snails.
The slugs and snails have thrived in this weather. They've not dried out in the summer, which is probably nice for that kind of ecosystem. Mick Wood says, I'm considering YouTube Premium. The amount of ads is crazy, so maybe £10 plus a month will be worth it for my sanity. Something which is actually worth thinking about, if you are thinking of YouTube Premium, you can get the family pack. So you can have up to 6 users on the family account, which if you aren't necessarily a family, you're just maybe a student or you're living on your own or whatever, just club together with a group of friends. Maybe even if there's people on our Discord and you want to maybe chip in and do some sort of group buy kind of thing where a few of you get together and buy it, probably a good idea to do it. And considering how much the family price is, if you divide that by 6 people, it makes it much, much more manageable. And then you don't have to worry about all the ads and stuff. So, and also you're giving something back to the creators, which, well, eventually gets to us after YouTube and everyone else takes their cut. But yeah, definitely worth looking at.
I'll go over to Odyssey.
Yeah, David Underhill says the highest on record, 42.2 degrees on the 11th of February 2017. We had a couple of days, I think it was last year or the year before. I think it was last year where we hit, I think it was about 40, 41, which is actually quite unusual for the UK. And I actually really liked it. It was really nice. Walking around in my pants, happy days. It was at the time where I had to swap my chair. That was the only thing which annoyed me because I've got 2 gaming chairs. I've got the Bulls one, or Bullies, or however you want to pronounce it, and I've got my one from who's the other one? The Master Noble chair. So I've got my Noble chair, which is like a leatherette one, and I've got my Bullies one. So the Bullies one is the kind of the autumn winter chair because it's fabric, it's nice and warm, whereas the other one is the kind of the summer one because it's wiped clean. So if I do get sweaty, it's not too... To be fair, actually, well, it hasn't been hot this year, so I haven't really got that sweaty, but they both actually do quite well. So
Yeah, I can type people on my computer.
yes, you can. So yeah, that was that, the YouTube ad stuff. In terms of new products in this week, now I said earlier in the stream that there has been somewhat of a drought of new things to take a look at, which is unfortunate. It is that kind of thing. We are changing generations with processors, motherboards and that kind of stuff. So there hasn't been a lot, but we reached out to an old company which we worked with a long time ago, Inwin. For those of you that don't know who they are, they make some really very cool stuff. And there's Poppey, there you go.
She's got her figure back.
Yeah, she's pinged back into shape, haven't you, kid? You all right?
Should we bring your kittens in while you're in here?
Do we want to see the kittens?
Do you want the kittens in?
Pops, I don't want to see your bum.
But she was showing she got her figure back.
She has got her figure back. She has pinged back into shape, bless her heart. Nick Barnes says, just got an advert, FGS. Oh no. Poppy got bigger. She did. She's a lot smaller. She was massive last week. Wait, oh God. Oh no, sorry, I thought the camera's on. Right, we've got a box of kittens, so let me move some stuff here. And I'll put the overhead camera on so you can see.
Maybe.
Hopefully. And there we go.
Poppy, who's this? Who's this in here?
I'll try and get some close-up. I know there's going to be some of you that don't have no interest in kittens at all, but they are now a part of our family as such. So let's see if we can zoom you in a bit there. It's a little bit on the
Can
dark
you lift
side.
them up? That's your babies, isn't it?
So there's three
Yeah.
little ones there, Poppy. So this is what I was meaning about. We don't want to just display them off because we don't want to upset Poppy. It's all right, Pops.
You're going to get in
There
as
you go.
well.
Poppy's in as well. Bless her. So you can get some idea of the size and the scale. Actually, I should... Oh,
Oh, she doesn't like me here.
she don't like him in here, so let's move you. All right, Pops.
Oops.
Now, cats have a tendency, they'll try and bite their young to try and move them around.
She's taking them off.
She's gone. Right. So yeah, that is one of the reasons why I didn't want it to be a thing about the kittens. So Poppy's got a bit upset, a bit protective, so she's grabbed one of the young ones and just gone back into the other room where she's normally situated. So that is her kind of safety place. Maybe if a little bit later on, if they fall asleep or whatever, we'll try and bring them in, give you some close-ups there. But yeah, three little kittens. We haven't named them or anything yet. Angel has had some ideas on it, but at the moment, not too sure what we're going to do. So anyway,
She's all right.
there we go. But main thing is they're all, well, as far as I can tell, they're all fitting well and healthy. So that is really good news. Glad to see it. Right, what was I saying? Oh yeah, Inwin. So we've had some stuff from Inwin. One of which I can't actually show you properly because it's actually in my PC because I'm in the process of doing the benchmarks. But there's a new CPU cooler from Inwin, which is the Inwin MR36, which actually, if I bring up, let's open up a Cognito window, and I'll have a look for it and I'll show you what it's all about. It's actually a really nice little cooler. It's in theory going to be relatively inexpensive, looking somewhere around about the 120 euros mark. Very hard to find in the UK at the time. So pricing wise, let's shop in euros. Yeah, for some reason they've got a placeholder, but on the actual Inwin store, even though I've got it set to UK, it says 144 euros. So I don't think that's correct, because they did send out a press release saying that it was $139 or 119 euros. So maybe there's been some miscommunication there. It isn't actually available, from what I can tell at the moment, to purchase, but it will be very shortly. So let's give you a view of that. Stream desktop, there we go. Oh, and I've still got the, let's go back to that one. Woo. Brain. I need a button actually on this Stream Deck, which allows me to clear that text. That would be great. Has that cleared it? Yes, it has. Excellent. I really need another screen there so I can see what's going on rather than twisting my neck every time. There we go. So Stream Desktop. So hopefully you can see that now. So there's the cooler. It's actually a really nice setup. So you've got a very compact CPU mount pump head. It's not a pump head as such because it is just the actual cold plate, that's the word I was looking for. So the actual pump is in the radiator itself. And it's got some nice new fans. These are the new Neptune series, so it's the AN120 ARGB. And unfortunately I've got to go back and do something on here. Hang on. See if I can work this out.
It's glaring at you then.
In my head. There we go.
It works.
Kath was glaring, she's like... Jason Woods, £5. Are you going to answer my question, Mike? I didn't see what your question was, sorry. But I will possibly answer your question if I can find it.
And Ashley asked.
Let me see if I can find it. Hang on,
Ashley.
don't confuse me.
Okay.
Hold on to that thought.
I forget. It's a very easy one.
I can't even see Jason's question. Did he actually ask a question or is he just winding me up? Oh yeah, Jason Woods. Hi Kath, how are you? I can't answer that one.
Ashley asks, is Poppy the little kitten that used to come on sometimes?
Yeah, Poppy is the little kitten, yeah. Sorry Jason, I cannot see your question. Stick it in again and I'll keep a very quick look out for it. Skystalker says that 4. No, it's only 3. Just 3 kittens. I'm trying to see where it is. Nick Barnes says, question, all girls? Not sure.
We think the first one, well...
Kath will answer this.
I think the first one is a girl and the second 2 are boys. But they're quite young and she doesn't like me looking at them too long. So I can't tell 100%.
Jason, I still can't see your question. I've literally just scanned through them all and I cannot see one other than asking if Kath was okay. Why can I not see that? It must be in there somewhere. You'll have to ask it again, Jason. But thank you for your super chat. Hi there, a question about, hey Mike, I got a Corey MK104 keyboard. I love it. Would you review one and let people know about this bargain? Yeah, I'll get Kath to write. Actually, Corey MK. We will have a look. We will have a look at that. Kath, can you write that down? The Corey. The only thing is, if the Corey keyboard is it in a UK layout, if it's not in a UK layout, I'm going to struggle. I really do struggle with that. Let me actually, if I go over to the Corey, was it MK108? Did you say? Oh, no, that's some sort of autocannon. Probably not that one. Where are we? MK104, not 108. Okay. Corey, there we go. Corey Gaming Keyboards. 26 RGB, backlit mechanical wired keyboard, 104 keys, full-size UK layout. Currently unavailable. Oh, actually, yeah, that looks quite nice. Is that looks like it's fixed RGB? I can't really tell from that. Is it individual backlighting? Doesn't say. Is it individual backlighting, Jason? Oh, it looks like it's got some nice features about it anyway. Unified keys. Red switches, which is always nice. Well, I've got the option for red, brown, or... Actually, I should put this on the screen so you can see it, shouldn't I? Not much point you watching me scrolling through it. So, there you go. There is the keyboard. Looks kind of nice. Yeah, there we are. It looks to me like it's got just a default background rather than being per key illumination. Difficult to tell from there. But even so, that's not too bad. Although if you can't change the RGB style, for some people that is going to be a bit of a no deal.
Right, I've written it down.
So I'll be interested to see what that is all about. But yeah, that's nice that it's got red switches and they're hot swappable as well. That's pretty awesome. And it's got a volume button, USB Type-C detachable cable. In theory, if the RGB does what I think it should do, because you can never tell from these pictures because they're just renderings.
There's an issue with your Apple Music account. To resolve this, check that your account is up to date in the Settings app.
How about shut up?
What does that mean?
What?
Michael T.
I don't know.
Gifted.
I'll have to look. Anyway, so there is the keyboard. I'm going to go back to the other screen now. So if anyone's said anything. Where are we? Jason Woods. It's Rainbow Puke RGB. Okay. Does it do anything else other than that? Or is it just like a fixed, all those colour segments are the same?
Can you see it on there? Michael T?
Michael T. Michael T.
Oh
yeah, there's...
I've never seen that before.
Oh right, Michael T is gifted Mike's unboxing reviews and how-to memberships. Thank you, Michael T. I don't know how that works.
I've seen underneath we allow gifts, do we?
Where does it say that?
It says there, allow gifts. Shall I do it?
Oh yeah, go on then. Now what? I don't know what this does. Whether Michael gets to gift memberships to 5 people, or whether we do, I don't know.
You could receive 1 month's membership to channels you interact with, including Mike's unboxing, and how you can still receive gifts from channels you've allowed before.
We're learning as we go on. Thank you. Oh, so I can see where it is now. So yeah, Kratos Racer 69 was gifted. Yeah, so that's Matthew Day was gifted a membership by Michael T. Kratos Racer, Roderick Kennedy as well, Crypto KJ, and I Have the Documents was gifted a membership. Thank you. That's very kind of you, Michael. Much appreciated. So those of you that have just got memberships, you will now be able to access Mike's unboxing content a little bit earlier than everybody else. Whether that's a good thing or not, I don't know. Oh, and also on the Discord, you will now have, I think it's VIP status. So you're a little bit higher up the tier ranking. So you've got access to other options, such as being able to kick people. I think you can ban people as well, or at least time out people. So if you are on the Discord, you do get some extra perks. Thank you very much.
Hey, Pops.
And Poppy's back. You back? Where's your poppies? Puppies.
Where's your puppies? Okay?
Simply not interested, is she?
She's quite chatty now, though.
She is chatty.
Okay? Yeah? Let's see. I'm going to sit on my lap, or do you want to go out?
Alexa says that keyboard has way too much RGB. There's never too much RGB. Right, let's catch up with what you guys have been saying there. So $46. Terry Trickett's with us as well. G-Zone High. Kieran's with us as well. Kieran says, Mike, press Inwin to send you the BR24 BR36. I think I probably will do. I'm actually really impressed with the MR36, which is, actually just quickly go back to that if we can. And there we go, Stream Desktop. So it's actually got these really unusual Neptune fans, which have got the kind of wicker basket or wicker weave effect blades. So there's a load of blades on there for higher static pressure. And the central hub, you don't get a real good impression of how big that center hub is. But the motor is what I can gather to be a 4-pole motor, but it's got an absolute ton of strength to it. And it's actually got some really, really bizarre momentum to it. The fan blades are actually hard to stop. Normally with fans, you just press the blade in the middle and they stop like dead. Whereas these suckers, they've got a real momentum thing going to them. And they spin between 900 and 2200 RPM. But overall, yes, a really nice cooler. Does a great job on the 13900K, keeps that under control. You've got the Inwin logo on the actual cold plate, or the head, which is rotatable. And it's actually got some really nice daisy chain cabling going on as well, to make cable management very simple. There will be a full review on it coming out very shortly. And also we've got some fans from them as well, so that's pretty good. I do like to see something from Inwin. It's been a long time. I actually looked and it's been 2 years, almost to the day, since we reviewed the last Inwin product, which was what's the little case? The Inwin B1. The Chopin Pro, I think, was the last one we did. And they did the B1 before that. So yeah, it's been one of those things. I keep on seeing them having stuff come out, but then it's like, well, we've been really busy, there's stuff going on, but now we're less busy. Hang on a second, I've got to try and read that today. Thank you so much, Colin Hilton. Much appreciated for your donation, £30 there. Thank you very, very much. That is massively appreciated. All goes towards keeping this place going, keeping the lights on, and that one as well. So thank you very much. But yeah, Inwin stuff, very nice. Generally, Inwin stuff was very expensive. I'll say that straight out. But there's a couple of things. Like, they do some very odd stuff. So Inwin do some like really, really kind of really out there type of designs. But then they also do some real classic stuff. And then they do stuff which is like classic looking, but with some really nice touches. And that is where the MR36 and the MR24, the smaller version, fit in. So they're kind of like, they're using like tried and tested technology, but they just put it together in such a nice little package, which, yeah, is very hard to beat. And I've tested it against one of the more favourable 360mm ARGB coolers that we've got here, and it does very, very well. And the noise profile is excellent. So if you're looking for an AIO but you don't want it to be super loud, then definitely worth taking a look at. And I would suggest when the video comes out, even if you're not interested in Inwin brand as such, I would watch the review, because it's a very interesting design. There's a lot of very cool features been thrown in there. And I'm not just saying that because they sent it to me for review, I'm saying it because it's genuine. And the fact that it's actually still in my PC after the review, that normally stands the kind of the test of like, okay, yeah, it's pretty decent. Very rarely, if I review a product, if I don't really, really like it, it's unlikely it's going to stay inside my PC for very long, if not removed immediately after the review. So that is, yeah, it's worth looking at anyway. There you go. So,
have you missed my question donation? Yes, we have.
Oh, lucky man, yes.
I don't
No,
mind.
if it's about the size of my wang, no, I saw that one and I answered it. It was a hard one to answer. Ba-boom. Kieran says, well, I can well imagine my BR36 is still going strong and beats the socks off the other 360mm AIOs I've used. Jason Woods says, it's that time again. Gotta go. Thanks for the live show. Have fun, people, and have a great weekend. Thank you, Jason, and you too. Truck fan, thoughts on the Asus VG27AQ1A 1440p monitor? I want to order one soon. To be honest with you, when it comes to monitors, my needs and tastes are very different from the mainstream, unfortunately. I actually run, for the daily drivers on all the monitors here in the studio area, they're all, well, actually tell a lie, CAF's is a 75 Hz panel, my video editing one is a 60 Hz panel, and the stream one is also a 60 Hz panel. So when it comes to high refresh gaming panels, I'm probably not the best person to ask. Having said that, I do enjoy a fast monitor, and I would ideally love to have a 4K monitor which was like 32 inches and fast, but it's one of those things where it's prohibitively expensive at the moment. 1440p is 100% without a shadow of a doubt the sweet spot in terms of monitor technology. That specific Asus one, I don't have any experience with, I'm afraid, so going from that model number, I'm not entirely sure which one it is, so I would need to look into it. But in terms of monitors, I think it's hard to buy a bad one these days, to be completely honest. There are some which are like really cheap and are bad, but I think they're more of a rarity than the norm these days. Monitor technology has progressed in such a way that pretty much everything is okay at the moment, I would say. Maybe if someone else in the chat's got any opinions on that specific monitor, that would be awesome. Stuart Cleary is coming with a super chat there for €20. Thank you very much, Stuart. He says, the guy who invented autocorrect passed away. Autocorrect for smartphones passed away today. Restaurant in peace. Very good.
Sorry, I will do that. I had flame on my lap.
It's Poppy's fault.
Yeah, it's Poppy's fault because I've got to pay the others more attention.
Oh,
Let me pop.
let's move that around here.
And they know it's 9 o'clock and it's tea time. Tea time, isn't it? Right. You've got quite a few questions, so I don't know if everyone wants to put them all in a batch for you or.
That Canvar says your wife is listening to what you want for Christmas, right, Mike? We don't really buy each other stuff for Christmas.
You buy me stuff.
I buy calf stuff, but not a lot.
Not a lot.
The thing is,
really want anything.
we're pretty lucky, and we've got basically everything that we need or that we really want. There's some sort of things which are like you would really want.
Kittens.
Yeah, other than that, a bigger house, a bigger desk,
Bigger kittens.
a bigger monitor. There's a couple of things, but
Kittens, A-pops.
yeah, there's nothing that we really need. The thing is with Christmas, it's all like, yes, it's nice because The principle behind it is that you're being kind and you're giving to your friends, family, loved ones, etc., etc. And I totally understand it. It's a very commendable thing. And actually, giving to people generally is more rewarding than actually receiving, because it's one of those things like, yeah, you've done a good thing. It feels good to do it. But having said that, I do feel that the whole kind of Christmas thing, birthdays, anniversaries, Valentine's Day, it has become massively, massively over commercialized. And it's almost as if we've got to the point where you have to do these things. It's kind of, rather than being a generous offering, it's something that you have to do.
A chore.
Yeah, more of a chore. So
A lot of
I like to, especially for us, as we're a very small channel as far as things go. So every now and then, if I can do, if we have something, or there's somebody in our community which can make use of something or need something, then we'll possibly send stuff out in the post. We don't try to do it too much for like the Christmas and stuff like that, because it's just, it's kind of like yeah, it's all at once, so it's quite a big expense. But also it just feels very commercialized. And I do like to get on board with it to some extent, but at the same time, it's like we're all just being kind of sheeple, just going along with it for the sake of it. Having some time off, spending time with friends, family, loved ones, or just relaxing, having some time to yourself, chilling out at Christmas time, absolutely great. But the whole kind of having to buy gifts, and then it's like, it goes from some extreme to another, and it's got to the point where we're buying like laptops and consoles and PCs and spending hundreds, if not thousands of pounds at Christmas on people. It just seems nuts. I remember when I was young, like if you had 40, 60, 80 pounds worth for Christmas, you'd done well. Whereas now, if you got that for Christmas, I think most people will be a little bit offended if they were kids. They think, why has mum and dad not bought me much this year? And it just seems to be a little bit of a nightmare.
Did you do Lucky Man's one?
Lucky Man, there we go. Tight fruit lol.
We haven't done that one, have we?
Thank you.
I don't like this computer thing.
Kath's not digging it. And the disco ball isn't working as such. It isn't automated anymore.
It is, but
It is, but there's a link in the chain which is Kath, so she has to physically get up and press a button. I am going to have to work on it. There must be another way of doing it so that when a super chat comes in, we can register it. Because it was done from IFTTT, but then they made that so that everything was like paid tiers. It used to be you could have 2 applets free, and if you wanted to do more than 2 or 3, whatever, then you had to pay for the next tier, and it gradually got more and more, and now basically everything is the same. So yeah, there's no other way of doing it. What was that, Mark Barry? I only just heard that from wife. Where is that? Did I miss something? William Bodie says, all I want for Xmas is to be able to send things to my HQ. Don't worry, it's fine. Literally, like, I spend more of my day trying to reorganize stuff in here because we've got so much stuff here. So don't feel that there's any reason to send things. Unfortunately, we've got thermal tape that do that on a regular basis, and it just fills up.
That sounds really, really ungrateful.
It does sound ungrateful, but it's also, like, it's a real thing. Space in your home. Like, this is our dining room.
Now it's encroaching in our living room.
And now it's like our living room's full.
Sorry, not our living room, our kitten room.
Yeah, our kitten room in the front, which used to be our living room. We basically can't get in there because I've got my 2 other gaming chairs in there because they won't fit in here because of all the boxes. And also there's 2 Thermaltake C700 cases in there, which are huge. They're about the same size as one of these desks almost. So yeah, we're rapidly running out of room. It is insane. So don't feel for any reason, like if you want to send it something small. Small's good. Lucky Man says, my other question was best option or best opinion M.2 Gen 4. I don't know. When it comes to Gen 4 drives, probably the Lexar ones are decent. I like the Lexar ones. They're a decent value for money. The LM710, I think it is, Or if you want the higher spec version, there's the LN or LM910, I think it is, the 900 series. They're pretty decent. Obviously, all the favourites are going to be there. So the P4 Plus, is it, from, is that Crucial? P4 Plus? I think it is. Those are really good. Silicon power drives, the QD90, QD80, not too sure. But there's a lot to choose from. It used to be that you wouldn't want to get a Gen 4 drive that didn't have onboard cache. I don't think now with modern PCs with host buffer memory that that's such a key consideration, so I wouldn't spend an extremely high amount extra on drive just because it has onboard cache. Realistically, most people, if you're using a computer, you're just going to be doing gaming, maybe transferring the odd file, maybe installing a game, uninstalling a game. You're not going to be sending huge files across your drives on a regular basis. So I hate that when you see benchmarks and they're like, well, this drive tops out after it's transferred 250 gigabytes. It's like, who on a regular basis or even a semi-regular basis transfers 250 gigs of files in one go? It's really unlikely that's going to happen. So you want to be more looking at things like IOPS or IO per second. That's a really important one because that's what is all those tiny little bits and pieces that go on in the background in Windows. So IOPS is of key consideration. Look for a drive with a really good or very high number of IOPS. And also the TBW or total bytes written. That's a pretty important one as well. So make sure that it's got the ability to actually write to the drive a long time before it fails. There have been some drives on the market where the TBW value is really low, even though it's an expensive drive, so it means it's basically going to fail sooner. And ideally look for a drive with a 5-year warranty, I would say is probably a good shout. 3 years is okay, ideally 5. If given you a 5-year warranty, it means they're pretty confident in their product. If it's a 1-year or 2-year warranty, I'd be tempted to look elsewhere for a modern Gen 4 drive anyway. There you go. Skystalker says I used the XPG A-Data Blade 70s. Very fast, onboard cache, reasonable price. That's what we want. They sound pretty good. Rick H says, Gary sell at Mub Central. I am trying. A couple of weeks ago I did the build where we put together the Johnsbow PC with our Intel 12400, the RX 6600. Nice little PC. Quality parts in there, didn't cheap out on anything. Really nice power supply, really nice fans, cooler. The case itself was quite an expensive one as well. Nice motherboard, top spec PC for what it is. And I actually put it on Facebook Marketplace because, like, room. And I put it on, I think we discussed it in the stream and somebody said put it on for $650 and see what you get. So I did that and immediately, 3 or 4 offers straight away. Would you take £400 or £450? It's like, what are you actually smoking? Honestly, what are you smoking? £450 for a PC of that spec with new parts is just, well, it doesn't happen. You cannot build a PC that good for £450. It's impossible. I've tried. It just doesn't happen. And yeah, loads of people, like, there was one person who said, how about $550? And I was umming and ahhing because I'm thinking, well, a lot of the parts have been donated to the channel anyway. Some of the parts are going to make their money back to some extent from videos. So I'm thinking $550, I think that probably won't break me even, but it's kind of close enough to be doable. And just hope and pray that the karma points kick in at some point. And it was like, right, $550 is all they've got. So I'm like, okay, sell it to me. Why? What? Give me the sob story. You know, like pretend this is the X Factor. Tell me why I should be selling you this PC for like £100 less than what I want for it. Give me a reason to want to do it. And unfortunately, he couldn't seem to do it. And I did look through his Facebook profile, which I always do for anyone who's buying a PC. I vet them just in case there's some lunatic or they've got, I don't know. Well, you can tell a lot about people from their Facebook profile. Let's just say that. So I looked through the profile, and from what I could tell, this individual, I'm not going to say their name because it's going to give away probably too much about them, but it does appear that they lost their partner or their wife maybe a couple of years ago, or this year, or last year or something. Couldn't tell exactly when. and they were saying like how he was mentioning his son in posts and saying your mum would be so proud of you, she could see you now and all that kind of stuff. And I felt like that's a kind of cool thing, trying to help someone out who's in that situation. So, sorry, just to interrupt. Nick Barnes has sent us a £10 note from Nick Barnes. Happy Poppy chat. Have a great week, Nick and Molly. Thank you very much. So yeah, so I wanted to do a nice thing for this guy, and I was saying like, I was thinking, well, have you got a keyboard, mouse, and a monitor, and all that other stuff that you need? If you got all that sorted, because you want to buy it for your son, was the outcome. And I was like, well, what can I do? Like, I've got keyboards, I've got mice, I've got other peripherals which I can possibly just throw in to save an expense elsewhere, so I don't lose money on the parts or the PC itself, which I've genuinely put it out for. But there's stuff that obviously we get sent in for review and what have you, and kind donations from you like there. So I thought, well, maybe there's something I can do. And then I said, like, do you need any other bits? Like, if you've got the keyboard, mouse, monitor, and all that kind of stuff sorted out. And then it was like, no, nothing. And then I was like thinking, well, what have I got here? What can we do? And then it comes back and says, my friends just said I can have a free one. It's like, right, okay. So that put the rest of that. So I'm not too sure whether it meant a free PC or a free monitor or a free keyboard and mouse. This was about midnight, and I thought at this point I can't really be doing this much longer, because you get some crazy questions. Mostly, if you've ever sold anything on Facebook Marketplace, yeah. So we'll see what happens. I have reduced it £25 already on Facebook Marketplace, and hopefully it will go. The thing is, when it comes to Christmas time, in a month's time, it's going to sell like, you could click your fingers, it'll be gone. So it's whether or not I can put up with having it here for another month under my feet. I am tempted to use it, but then if I use it, then I've got to go through the hassle of wiping it all and putting new drives in, all that stuff. Anyway. Oh, we're buffering. Are we buffering? Oh, we're back. Lag time. What have we got here? Have we missed anything? Right, it must be well, it might be our internet. OBS says we haven't dropped any frames, so we'll keep an eye on that. Had a glitch here. Lagged for 30 seconds. Okay now. Alright, okay. Sorry about that. Don't know what's going on there. Maybe that was where an advert was supposed to be and they couldn't find one, so they just buffered it. Who knows? Anyway, there we go. So yeah, that's where we're at. I'm not sure whether you heard most of that, but essentially, PC's still here, and yeah, we'll see what happens. Dat Canavar 99 says, by the way, I sent you an email with 2 issues that I have on my computer. Okay, I will take a look at those a little bit later on, or well, probably won't be later on. It'll probably be tomorrow now. I'm working in the shop tomorrow, so I won't get time to look at them. I might, if I get a lunch break, which is extremely unlikely, I'll try and have a look, but we'll see what we can do. So yeah. Used PC prices, and actually PC prices in general, that was the other thing that I kind of wanted to go back to. PC prices are on the increase. There's some things which are getting lower. So DDR4 RAM, there's been a couple of cool deals this week. There was the Clev Bolt, I think it is. I can never remember it. The non-RGB Clev RAM, 16 gigs of DDR4 3200. I think was almost at its lowest ever price this week at £26.50 something. I think before it was like £25.83 was the very lowest I could see. So that is available. So if you need 16 gigs of RAM and you're not too bothered about RGB, then that is seriously good deal. Like £50 for 32 gigs of RAM is pretty good, pretty decent stuff. And being that it's only 3200 megahertz or mega transfers, chances are it's going to work in most systems, so that is pretty cool. Lag times. Is it still buffering? Are we okay now? Okay. Oh, and the last one, for those of you, anyone on Windows 10 or Windows 11, I think it might be a Windows 11 thing, and I've found this twice now. I used to find it more on this system because I used to leave it alone more. But has anyone out there noticed that if you leave your PC for a while, just on the desktop, and then you go back to it, you try and move the mouse cursor moves, but the left and right click doesn't. And then after about 20 seconds or so, it suddenly starts working. So I'm like scrubbing the mouse around, clicking on the kind of the start button for it to go up and down, and it doesn't react. Then all of a sudden, about 20 seconds later, it all starts working, which is weird because the mouse button input should be the same as the mouse movement, like the cursor. So the cursor works, but the clicks don't. And I've had that twice now on that PC, and I've had it today for the first time on my other PC. And I don't know what's doing it. It's very odd. So Skystalker saying, yes, I've had the same issue, Mike. Okay, so I'm not alone then. And Nick Barnes says, mine takes 2 or 3 seconds to respond at pointer, so assume it's gone to sleep. Yeah, this is more, it's more of a thing of, oh, Michael T says, yes, Mike, Windows 11. Right, because I've been doing some searching for this and I cannot find any obvious rhyme or reason. I have found, I'm not sure if I can actually show you on here. Can I do it on there? Device manager. Let's see if I can drag that over. So currently, stupidly, at the moment on this computer, I have actually got 2 mice connected. So this probably won't work as I wanted it to. So I've got human, no hid device. Keyboards and mice. Now that's interesting. Right, let me drag that over onto the other screen. So I'm going to put that onto there, Stream Desktop. So now you can see Device Manager there. So there's Device Manager. So currently I'm showing 3 mice, or 3 HID compliant mice. Now if I unplug my wireless one, in theory that should go down to 2. So I'm going to unplug that. There's the ding. So we've got human interface devices, and now I can't use my mouse. Oh dear, what a wally. So yeah, now we're down to 2. So the system for some reason thinks there's 2 mice, which there isn't, there's only 1. So if I unplug the my MSI mouse, I'm wondering if the actual mouse buttons are on one HID ID and the actual sensor is on another. So let me just unplug that a minute and see what happens. Wow, I actually managed the right one. So now we are showing, well, I can't really do anything, can I now? That's a bit silly. So if I scroll down. Right, so we're still showing that there's a mouse connected, which there isn't. There physically isn't another mouse connected. And I don't know why that is still showing. Because I don't have a mouse attached in any way, shape or form. So the wireless one is disconnected because the actual thing's there. But it's not grayed out. It's as if it is a proper HID device. So there's another mouse showing for some reason. And I don't understand why. I'll plug in the USB one again. So that is the Logitech. So that's just added another HID device. And if I plug in the MSI one again. And now I've got 3. So there we go. We have got, the system thinks there's 3 mice. And I don't know why it's, I don't get it. It's a very weird problem. So, Truck Fan, can I get off and play Teardown? Yes, you can. Enjoy. Life is short. Play more games. So I'm going to go into hidden devices, and there's a load of hidden HID compliant mice. So I'm going to remove those and see if that changes anything along. It might just be it needs a fresh install, but I'm loath to do that. So I'm just going to show where uninstall device, uninstall. So if you go into Device Manager, in View, and then choose Hidden Devices. Actually, let's go back so you can see it. So I've got the hidden devices. So you can see these grayed out ones. So these are ones which have been installed previously, but are no longer connected to the system. Because of the way USB works, quite often these can be just where they've been plugged into a different socket or a different port. So I'm going to remove all of them other than the 3, which I don't really have 3, as I've already established. But 1 seems to remain, and I don't know why. kind of the slightly conspiracy theorist inside me thinks it's like a back door, but it can be. So there we go. We're back to our 3 HID compliant devices now. So I'm going to run with that and see what happens. I don't know. It's bizarre, but it's interesting to see that other people. Oh, actually, is the Stream Deck being considered as a mouse? I don't think so. I can try that a minute. So HID compliant mouse. Let's try that. I think the HID compliant. I think the Stream Deck is more of a keyboard device. Maybe not. Maybe it is. Where are we? Yeah, HID compliant mouse is still there. So no, that doesn't seem to change it, unfortunately. But that is a good shout. What's it, Pops? Where's the puppies? Okay. Anyway, what screen am I on now? It's doing cat autofocus now. So, Bluetooth low energy GAT compliant HID device. What was it?
They're in that room, aren't they?
Where's your puppies?
So we can get them? Should we go find them? Come on then.
So while Bill says I'm showing 4 mice. Let's have a look through the comments here. Nick Barnes says, I assume Device Manager class my keyboard same as mouse. In HID devices, so human interface devices, that will bundle up all sorts of things and possibly keyboards and mice. So you may have your mouse and your keyboard having a individual entry in the mouse and keyboard section, but it might also have another section in human interface devices as it being HID compliant. So yeah, it's an odd one. And the trouble is with USB, especially if you're someone like me where you'll unplug stuff and plug stuff in, possibly not plug it in the right slot. That is one of the weaknesses of USB. If you plug a USB device into a different USB port than what it was previously on, it gives it a new identity because of how USB ports route data. Which makes sense because that's how it should work. But it gets to a point where if you've plugged your device in various different ports, eventually it's going to stop working because it's like, well, hang on, I've seen this device before and I'm sure it's supposed to be in this port, but now they're putting in this port and I've already allocated the data to this port, and it just gets really confused and the device will just stop working. So sometimes you do have to go in here and just basically either remove all the devices or just blast Windows, nuke it and start again, which is a bit of a pain in the backside. So anyway, yes. So Michael T says, Mike, I know how my PS5 controller, it shows as 2 controllers as it uses an emulator which converts my PS5 into an Xbox controller for gaming. Okay. Chris Hartford saying, yeah, it's the Stream Deck as the mouse. Well, I thought that would be the case, but it's definitely a HID device, like a human interface device, but it isn't as a mouse. I don't know if it actually, is it in keyboards? No, it doesn't appear to be a, where is the Steam Deck? That is going to be in sound, video and game controllers maybe? No, Camlink Pro, software. No, I'm not too sure where that would be actually. Stream Deck. Yeah, that's a good point actually. Display adapters. My old Radeon RX 6600 is showing, so I'm going to get rid of that. Uninstall, and also GTX 1070. Let's get rid of that. But yeah, it's a very, it's an unusual thing. I don't quite understand it. And it would be nice if when you uninstall things from Windows, it actually removed them. Like I've got loads of stuff here which isn't physically connected. If you look in hidden devices, you'll find there's all, oh God, don't scan. Yeah, if you look in there, there's going to be loads of stuff which is not in your computer or hasn't been for a long time. Firmware. Yeah, I'm not sure where the must be a HID compliant device. Razer Huntsman Mini, that's not connected at the moment. Very strange. Anyway, I digress. So yeah, that's something I definitely need to look into. David says, you haven't left a mouse dongle in the back? No, I did check for that. Not one there, sadly. I wish there was, because it would make my life a lot easier. But I still don't understand how, when Windows 11, like if you've not used it for a couple of minutes, hours, whatever, and you come back to it, how the mouse sensor moves and the pointer moves. You can move the pointer around the screen with no problems at all, but you cannot left click or right click. And it takes a good few seconds. Maybe I should time it next time it happens if I think of it. But I'm sure it's like 10 to 20 seconds. It seems like longer because it's not working. It's like, oh, come on, because you want to do something. But
How's it go?
come on, because you definitely want to do it. And you want to get on and do stuff. So, yeah, it's a bizarre thing. I'm going to try and find out the reason behind it. Because it is one of those annoying things. And I'm sure there's going to be benefits in making a video on it. But I am going to have to do the research on it. So, if anyone else has had it or finds it, oh, what's she doing now? Oh, that sounded like a kitten drop.
It wasn't. You always say these things.
It's always something to worry about.
That's like jumping on a banister.
Get off the banister, you lunatic. Does she want to go back upstairs?
You want to go to bed, my Poppey? You take it up to bedtime then.
Nick Barnes says it might be the resoldered switches, Mike. Haha. Well, funny enough, yes, the mouse that is over my video editor PC, I have actually gone and resoldered some new switches into my mouse, because the MSI ones, this was my original GM50, which we reviewed, I think, back in 2018. Might have been 2019, I'm not too sure. You'd have to look the video up, but it's a very old video. And it got to the point where the left mouse button every now and then just didn't quite feel like the plunger was working properly. I don't know how long I've used it. It's been dropped numerous times off the bench and what have you. So I thought that it would be like one of those things. So I bought some switches from AliExpress. Colin Hilton, bless his heart, sent us in a very nice soldering iron. So off camera, because I wanted to do this for myself and see how bad it was to do. And yeah, put some new switches in the mouse. And now I've got the same switches in my MSI GM50 that are in the Razer Viper Ultimate. And they've got a really nice plunger sound to them. And it's very accurate, like ridiculously accurate. I got to the point where I was like clicking on all sorts of stuff. And it's, yeah, it's much, much better. Michael T says, you on an Intel or AMD system at the moment? Maybe new AMD power state USB issue. Good point. That one is AM5, so I kind of expected that to do weird shit anyway. But the other one is my Intel system, which normally is fine. But I have noticed it doing it. But I have swapped out the graphics card recently, and also I've swapped the mouse out because Kath's mouse that she was using, which was the one that Ugly Bob sent us that had the little picture on it, unfortunately that has stopped working, so I put that to one side because we are going to have to try and do a repair on that, because the firmware, where did I even put it? I can't remember where I put it now. Down here? Anyway, wherever it is. Yeah, that mouse is died a death. For some reason it keeps on having firmware issues in the software, and bizarrely it just loses the ability to click on anything completely. But Kath's on Windows 10, so it shouldn't make any difference. But if you press the button underneath to change the DPI, then suddenly it starts working again. But it seems to do it on a regular basis, but it keeps on getting a firmware error. So anyway, long story short, my GM41 mouse, I gave to Kath because she prefers the layout of that one. So I've gone back to my old GM30, which is the same as what was on here. So now I've got the same mouse on my video editing PC and the streaming PC, so it's quite nice to go between the two. Michael T says, I'm on AM5 too, Mike. I have the same issue. Okay. That is... It's a really odd one. I really don't understand how... Because you'd think a mouse is a mouse, so either the buttons and everything should work together. It's almost like it's... No, I was thinking like it's a sensor thing, but it's not, because the sensor is working. It's the mouse buttons that aren't. And if anything, you'd think that for power saving, the sensor would go to sleep, the buttons would remain active, but it seems to be the other way around. And it's not like it's a battery mouse or Bluetooth mouse, it's a wired mouse. And it's not like the USB port's gone to sleep because the pointer moves, but you can't click on anything. So I don't know whether it's a mouse issue or whether it's actually a UI issue or the user interface. Something within Windows where it goes into some sort of lower powered state. So it's not registering clicks, but then it shouldn't really register movement. It's really confusing.
But then
I'd love to know the answer.
Mouse, didn't I?
Yeah, I just went through it, yeah.
Did you see William Bode's?
William Bode. When my mouse falls asleep, I use the wheel first and burn everything. It works fine. Is that burn or bum?
I think it says
And bum everything.
I know
Okay.
PH has got a question, I think.
PH, I use an Xbox wireless controller and usually use via Bluetooth. However, if I plug it into PC to charge, use wired, then I have to remove it and repair in order to use it via Bluetooth again. Yeah, there's an unusual thing with that with some devices where, because of the way the Bluetooth works, so when you pair a Bluetooth device, the receiver and the transmitter both have like almost like Wi-Fi, like a shared key. So Bluetooth, it'll go in and it'll say, right, this is my key. And the other devices go, right, that's the key, excellent, here's my key, and they'll exchange keys, which is absolutely fine. Then, if you interrupt that in some way, either by pressing the pairing button on either device and changing that key, that pre-shared key, it then doesn't recognize it. So in some instances, if you plug in a USB as in a wired connection, or you let the battery go completely flat, potentially you can actually force like that key to reset itself, because normally they roll, they're like a rotational thing, which is why you have to keep on repairing devices. So it might be just a weird bug that when you plug in USB that is maybe data and charging, it turns off the Bluetooth element, so when you turn it back on, it wants to repair, possibly. I don't know. Stuart says his mic doesn't understand it. No, in fact, possibly. Oh, one Cav Viper says, got your coasters and a hat. Very nice, thanks. No problem, glad you like them. I think, did we buy some coasters?
Don't think we did.
No, I don't think we did. Should have done. Not that we use coasters, to be honest, we were heathens.
I have got one.
Oh yeah, well I've got the one of Imhotep. And Cav's got a coaster.
A bit nearer. Poppy cuddling flame.
Poppy and Flame.
Probably got coffee rings on it, but shoes has been used.
I did make a Zoot mouse. Matthew Day says, look at the device IDs, it might identify what the odd one is. Yeah, that's not a bad idea actually, I might need to do that. Because I'm sure, I did look very briefly at the device IDs, but it came up with some weird stuff, which I didn't recognise. Well, I do need to spend some more time on that. Anyway, Mookie MC says, consider doing a segment on your new camera upgrade and the pros cons of a cheap webcam, PTZ cam, and a mirrorless camera for recording and streaming. I have considered doing that. And in fact, this week more so, I was thinking, because I'm really struggling to get the camera colours to look like they did with the previous camera. And it's really weird because that is a Lumix S5 II, the previous one was S5, and the colour science is completely different. I know I should have expected that because it's a completely different sensor, but it didn't occur to me how much of a difference the colour science is between two cameras which are the same effectively. Like if you bought two things from the same company which were one model apart, you would expect them to be very similar. The lens does come into it as well because I've got a different lens on there, but yeah, it's a very weird thing, so maybe I will do that. I actually, for some things, I prefer the old camera, which does pain me to say it, but the autofocus on this S5 II is phenomenal. This is what autofocus should be. Like, This reminds me of like old school camcorders where literally you just pointed it and it just zoomed, locked onto stuff. It was great. Anyway, I'll move on. The quality difference is, it depends what you're doing as well with streaming. So if you're streaming in like 1080p YouTube, the compression, all that stuff, there's not going to be a great deal of difference in it. There really isn't. But making YouTube videos where you've got that little bit more of extra creativity and like the 4K options and high bit rates, etc., does give you a little bit more flexibility. But for streaming, I don't think it makes a huge amount of difference. Yes, Kath?
PH bought some jelly beans today in celebration of the new Kittens.
Oh, nice one.
Maybe we should.
We should buy some. We did buy some jelly beans
When?
a couple of years ago. They're in your cupboard, in the back of your cupboard.
Are they?
Yeah, there's a big jar of them.
In the back of my cupboard?
Hmm.
Upstairs?
Yeah, one of those plastic jars I bought. Remember I bought 3 of them. One for you, one for George, one for Angel.
Why do we have them all?
No, it's in there.
I bet it's not, and I'll raise my hopes.
There's one, because I've seen it. And I put it there, and I was going to give...
You put it there.
I was going to take it, I was going to give it back to someone for Christmas again.
It's not in there.
Anyway, moving on.
And Michael T says, Mike, this mouse issue reported on MS website.
Yes, I did see that actually. When I did do a very brief bit of kind of investigation on there. And yeah, that was the typical Microsoft solutions. Restart the PC. Well, I restart the PC every day and it still does the same thing. Every day or every now and then. Reinstall drivers. The drivers is a hard one because you don't really know what drivers it is. Like if it's the mouse driver, then most mouse drivers are predominantly going to be a plug-and-play USB thing. So yeah, there's not really a great deal you can do there. The HID device driver is the HID device driver. It's a universal driver. So there isn't really a lot you can do. Disconnect and reconnect mouse, I have tried that to some extent, or at least whenever I take my PC apart, I always end up plugging it into a different port. So yeah, anyway. Sure says, new channel, Mike's unboxing and dodgy soldering. My soldering isn't great, to be honest with you. My eyesight isn't great, so soldering is even harder.
Talking of Stuart Cleary, he's asked about the kitten reveal. Can you just explain that? She's a bit...
Yes, the kittens, Poppey, because it's only been a couple of days now.
She's only 2 days old.
Poppey is still a little bit kind of possessive and a little bit cautious about it. So we did bring them in a little bit earlier to show them in the box. But Poppey came in and the first thing she wanted to do was to grab one of them and to drag them away to safety. Obviously, this is a safe place, we know that, but she doesn't know that because animals, obviously, they have their own instincts and stuff. So we'll see what we can do as time goes on. As they get a little bit bigger, we'll try and get them onto the stream a little bit more, possibly.
Next week will probably be alright.
Yeah, by the time next week, they might be a bit better, yeah, a bit more independent.
But she's obviously just a bit possessive and precautious of them, or whatever the word is.
Yeah, right.
What was the other one? There was another one, sorry.
I've just seen one, so I'll read it out. Keep it in your...
Reluctant reader?
Yeah.
That's the one I was on about.
Reluctant reader. Question, Mike. Hi, I ended up going for the Series 500. The Mobo I'm considering doesn't have an easy BIOS flash. What I wanted to know is how much of a downgrade, I suppose that'll be, are Ryzen 300 CPUs compared with 500 CPUs. There is a pretty sizable jump. The processors, the 5000 series, are noticeably better than the 3000, but it depends which ones you're getting and what you're using it for. If you're doing some form of video editing or things like that, if you can get hold of a cheap 3800 or 3900, those are great. And yeah, really nice processors. The 5000 series, it depends what, if you're comparing like a 3600 with 5600, the 5600 is better. Most motherboards, I would say, unless you're buying possibly the wrong motherboard, or you live in a country where they've got really old stock or it's hard to get hold of things, these days to find a B550 motherboard, which I'm guessing you're possibly looking at, that hasn't got the 5000 series BIOS is going to be quite rare unless that motherboard has been stuck on a shelf somewhere for a long time. Because the 5000 series now, as you know, has been superseded now with the AM5, so that's been almost a year now. So 5000 series has been out a year at least before that, so you're looking at kind of 2 years old. So if a motherboard's on the shelf and it's more than 2 years old, I would be a little bit uncomfortable buying it. And if you're buying it from a retailer that's selling a 2-year-old motherboard, it kind of makes you wonder about warranty as well. If you're buying a board that's old, like manufacturers, even though they sell to distributors and then to retailers, there's always that kind of like sales gap between obviously being made and going out to an end user. And normally the warranty, if it gets to the point where it's like the motherboard's been in a box for 3 years, even if you buy it from a retailer, they're going to struggle to return it because they'll be like, well, how can this be just bought? It's an old board now. So I would be yeah, I'd be cautious about buying a board that wasn't compatible with a 5000 series processor. If it's a B550, if it's a B450, then I probably wouldn't buy it anyway, because that's just way too old now. Michael's asked, sorry, one Cav Viper saying, Michael, what kind of mouse? It's well, actually, on this system, it's always been the GM50 MSI. On my computer, I actually haven't had it happen on that, so maybe it's a GM50 thing. But then other people have had it as well, so I don't think it is. I don't think it's just down to the type of mouse. I think it is a Windows UX thing. Let's fast forward a bit. Ordinary Dude says, you know what is about mice? If you see one, there's 10 more you don't see. It is true. O'Reilly is saying, question for top-mounted AIO. Do you have a preference for the direction of the pipes? Front to CPU socket or rear to CPU socket? Funny you should mention it, actually, because in the PC behind me, you'll see the pipes are at the back, and I've chosen to go around that way. It could have gone either way, but I thought, for me, that looked nicer because of the way the pipes bent. In my other system, which I did, the 360 AIO, I've actually done it the other way. So I've done the pipes at the front, coiling round that way. And yeah, I don't really have a preference. I generally go with how the pipes coil. So if they coil nicely one way, then I'll leave it as it is. I don't like it when pipes look weird, or they look like they've got a kink to them, or they don't sort of flow round nicely. I like them to look as if they're like a smooth line or an obvious line. But you can't always do that depending on how they've been connected and the kind of the twist factor and all that kind of stuff. So I wouldn't necessarily say one way or the other is inherently better or worse. The only thing I would say with either of them really is to make sure that, like with here, the pipes were hitting the back fan, so I did have to slide the radiator up a little bit. And conversely, you might have the same on the front, although less chance, I guess. But yeah, just make sure that the pipes are not going to foul any of your fans. Alright, he says, not finished my AIO upgrade, stop for the night, not going to apply thermal paste this late in case it goes everywhere. Don't blame you. Ordinary Dude, my tying is dyslexic today. Never mind. PH says, I love my Ryzen 3600, find it astonishing you can get them used for about 40 quid. They are very cheap. Reluctant Reader says, looking at the X570 motherboard, the Steel Legend. The X570 Steel Legend, does that not have BIOS flashback? That seems unusual for an ASRock board. And that is a slightly older version, because the X570s, you have to remember, came out before B550. And to be blatantly up front, the X570 boards didn't sell particularly well because they were expensive, and because they were the first of that chipset, they weren't particularly stable for a lot of people, myself included, because I had the X570 Tough Gaming, and that thing was a nightmare until the BIOS got sorted out, and then it was absolutely fine. You should be okay with that. If not, I would say if you're buying it, ask the retailer if they'll do a boss flash for you. Potentially might do.
Did you see Dutch Jan? He's asked 3 times now. Apparently.
Dutch Jan, that's not...
Thermal paste burn. Took the cooler off, saw what looked like a burn mark, but on 10 degrees cooler.
Thermal paste shouldn't burn. Not really. Sorry, Dutch Jan, I didn't see that there. Yeah, that is unusual. Normally, if you see a burn on thermal paste, it would be a damaged processor, but that doesn't seem to be the case because you've said now it's 10 degrees cooler. The only thing it might have been is if the thermal paste, depending how it was put on, if you put it on like with Arctic MX5 and MX6, because of the consistency of the blend, there was some levels of separation. So if you syringed it on as just a blob and then put your CPU cooler on the top, where the actual kind of different parts of the fluid or the suspension or the compound, whatever you want to call it, where they separated, you potentially might have had an area where if the compound has separated, you might have had a section where there wasn't a lot of thermal interface material, but there was some silicone or the lubricant or whatever they used to kind of make it all bind together. That would be my guess, but it is just a guess. But thermal pastes have a tendency to do that, of separation. And wonder, actually, I've probably got here somewhere. I wonder if I've got some MX5 here. No, got some MX6. MX5 was terrible for it, and I think MX6, some of the early stuff was as well. And they didn't do a recall, but if you had problems, you could send it back. But I'll see if I've got anything here which might have separated. I don't think I have. I don't think this has actually been opened. No, that's still sealed. Actually, I do need to get that out because I do need to use some more of that. I wonder if this might be from the first batch. It'd be interesting to see if this actually has separated at all. Let's do a little blobette. Actually, I'm going to be careful with that because this is quite a small syringe, so I don't want it to go everywhere. Right, no, that looks perfect. So I think it was MX5 which was the one which was separating.
You've got this on the screen.
Oh yeah, sorry. It wasn't exciting.
Sorry.
So there you go. So you can see the blob on the bottom there. So you can see that's like a nice even consistency. Whereas with the MX5, I think MX5 is also blue color, and you could see it quite easily that the blue would separate from. There was like almost like a. It wasn't clear, but it wasn't like frosted or anything. It was almost like a mucusy kind of thing that was in there, and it was separating. And I could see it straight away when I did some reviews on it, and it's like, oh, that's not great.
Nick Barnes has a question.
Nick Barnes. 360 AO front mounted pipes go from bottom rad or top to CPU. Pump in pipes. Pumps in the pipes better than CPU, mate. I.e. thermal. Yeah, the general principle is that you don't want to have the pump necessarily at the top of the loop, unless it is a cooler which is specifically designed to counteract that. So certain NZXT units, the ones that were in the Z1, was it the Z1, the little micro ATX thing, those had a radiator mounted pump to keep the size down. Actually, it's very similar to the one which is in the Inwin MR36, which actually has a top mounted pump in the radiator, but they've done it so that the impeller, so if you imagine the radiator is kind of that way up with the pipes facing down, the impeller is at the bottom, and that's like the top of the radiator, so the impeller's down here. So you'd have to lose almost all of the fluid in the radiator before it would start drawing in air, which is like okay. So that one you can mount in pretty much any orientation, it's going to be absolutely fine. Just going to grab my cup of tea. Very good.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Michael T says, yeah, MX5 was superseded very fast. Yeah, it kind of came and went very quickly. I think Ugly Bob sent me a thing of MX5, and almost immediately when I started using it, it was like separating. I've got these old classics, the HY710 and the HCIB. Very, very cheap thermal paste. I don't even know why I bought that stuff. This one's actually quite good, the HY10. It's more of a like a silver, like an Arctic silver. But this stuff lasts almost forever. It's very cheap as well. So I've got all sorts now. And my thermal pads, I've forgotten where I put them. I was looking the other day, thinking, where the bloody hell have I put my thermal pads? I should know. They are actually in with my my little thermal paste bag. There's all kinds of rubbish in there. Chris says, I use that cheap paste on testing builds, it's fine. Yeah, it's absolutely great. I've got no real complaints with it. It's not the best, but I find that it's got a really nice consistency and it spreads very nicely, so you can get a really nice even coating. Some of the more modern pastes I find to be rather gloopy and almost like, not stringy, but I suppose, yeah, it is somewhat stringy and like almost clay-like. So I do like a paste where it's got a very nice consistency, so you can spread it really nice. Rick H says, I like Thermal Grizzly paste. I have used Thermal Grizzly. I did find it to be very good.
Sent you some, didn't he?
Yeah, I think, no, Rick sent the Noctua, which I've got in a separate box actually. That was sent from Rick. Thank you, Rick. The reason why it's in that is because there's cleaning pads in there as well. I don't want to get it mixed up with the other stuff. Not the Mazda version, no.
Dave Aiken.
Oh, Dave Aiken, sorry, MX5. Yeah, no, it wasn't your fault. It was, it's one of those things. Unfortunately, there was a big thing about it, about MX5. They said there was like only certain batches affected, but they very, very quickly got rid of it and went to MX6. So I'm thinking it was much more widespread than they actually let on.
Was that when they were all on offer on Amazon?
At
one point?
Yeah, at one point it was on offer so much so that I think I bought about 5 or 6 of them. Sorry. Gritty eyes. Sore eyes. Dave says I'd like to try MX6. MX6 is pretty good. The initial stuff, again, the same deal. MX6 when it came out, I think was exactly the same as MX5 in terms of it looked the same. But now I think the newer stuff actually is closer to MX4 in terms of consistency. PH says, lol, I've got MX4 on my CPU and MX5 on my driveway. Very nice. Talking of CPUs and stuff, and actually the repasting of such, which I might actually do now, because I want to see what this is like. So you'll probably notice earlier, well, if you were in the stream earlier, we're discussing GPUsed.co.uk, which is a place for those of you in the UK where you can pick up used PC components. In actual fact, let's quickly throw up a web page so you can see what they're all about, and you may actually even want to take a look for yourselves and maybe make a purchase, who knows. So let's go to Stream Desktop. So this is GPUsed.co.uk, and this is some of the items, excuse me, frog in my throat. So this is some of the things they've got in stock. You can check through, see what it's all about. They're essentially trying to be a kind of like somewhere in between, not having the same risks that you'd have associated with Facebook Marketplace and stuff like that, and eBay, but not having the massive overheads that you'd have from CEX in terms of pricing. But also they do take trade-ins as well. So if you've got stuff you want to sell, get rid of, you can do trade-ins or part X's or just sell it to them, all that stuff. And they've got a pretty decent range of stuff. And the nice thing about this is every product is individually photographed and listed. So unlike when you go to CEX and you just type in sort of GTX, whatever it is, or Radeon such and such, it's always a little bit of a gamble what you're going to get. Whereas this is all individually listed, shows you the packaging, all that kind of stuff. So if you go into this one, for example, 3070 Ti Gaming X Trio, so it's a premium edition, £360. I'm honestly not sure if that's a good price or not. It appears on first inspection to be okay, but let me know in the chat. I could be wrong. It has happened before. So it shows you what the quality is like, the condition. Looks like it's still got the voided remove thing close up there to show you it needs 2 pins, and shows you that those things are intact. So yeah, they're doing what I would consider to be a pretty decent job. They go through the product description, summary, etc., blah blah blah. So yeah, and you can also pick it up if you want to directly from their address. So number 40 Humber Road, or you can get it sent out. They do shipping. And when you do shipping, there's the policy, how much it costs, so a couple of quid. Generally, it's going to be free shipping. So if you go for most items there, so 250 quid upwards. I think I had free shipping on mine. But anyway, you can go to the checkout and it may well be free shipping. I think it is in general. I think that needs updating. But anyway, you get the general idea. So you've got PC components, got graphics cards, processors. They haven't got a massive range because it's a small upcoming company, so not a huge range to go from there. But you may find something. You may want to sell your processor to them to get some money. Like Ryzen 5 4500, 50 quid. On first glance, that seems actually okay. And if anybody wants to fire up CEX and see how much they're selling those for, be interested to see the comparison. But from what I can tell, the prices seem to be relatively competitive. They aim to be anywhere between 5 to 30% cheaper than CEX. So that is
says 380 on CEX.
380. So 20 quid cheaper. So yeah, that's not bad. That is a saving. So yeah, what have we got? SSDs. Got a couple of SSDs. I don't think those are particularly great prices. In fact, those look pretty awful, to be fair. But as with anything, it's a small company. Trying to keep up with market pricing is going to be difficult. But that's something they're going to have to start learning to deal with. Or they're going to end up holding on to stock, which I'm guessing they don't want to do. They've even got things like PC cases. So there's a CUDA Masterbox MB320L ARGB. Brand new seal. $69.99.
And you don't know if CEX is in a box.
Yeah, CEX, you never really know how it's going to turn up.
Yesterday's fish and chip paper or something.
Yeah. So you can do selling or part exchange, so you can buy stuff, part exchange, all that kind of stuff. Hopefully you can get the idea what this is all about. So it's a smallish company trying to do the right thing. You can go through, look at the contact us page and see all the details. You can get in contact directly. And actually, if you buy from them, you actually get a dedicated telephone number that you can speak to someone, a human being on the other end. So that's kind of nice.
Did you say what you did when you bought one?
I haven't yet.
Semi-test them.
Yeah, I have done a test. There is a graphics card in front of me now, the GTX 1070, which actually let's take a look at that now. Actually, let me close that down. Close that down. Where are we? Yeah, so I thought, well, as I said earlier, I'm always looking for somewhere where I can get cheap stuff, or at least cost-effective stuff. It doesn't necessarily have to be cheap, but as long as there's a reason for it to be a price that it is. So I picked up this. This is EVGA GeForce GTX 1070 SC, and as you can see, pretty basic model, but I thought, being that EVGA are basically defunct now, it would be nice to have one of these either to put up as a showpiece, because they are quite stunning cards, or just to put into some sort of flip PC, a GTX 1078 gig. Still pretty powerful these days, and for about £100 I paid for this, which is a little bit more than I would have liked to have paid, but at the time of buying this, the next cheapest one I could find on CX was 120. Yeah, £120 on CX, so it's like, well, immediately it's £20 cheaper, so I'm happy with that. You can pick these up for silly money on Facebook Marketplace, because a lot of people don't really kind of understand the value proposition of them. So I think £100 is a fairish price. It would have been nice to pay a little bit less, but this has a 14-day warranty as standard. You can purchase additional warranty should you want to, and the warranty is 15% of the cost price to take it up to a year, I think it is. That's a work in progress, so that will be implemented at some point, but if you do want to spend £15 or 15%, like £15 to be on this, to get a 1-year warranty, you can do, which then takes it closer to the CX price. So yeah, you pay your money, you take your chance with that. I like to see other companies getting a little bit of a shot. Now, I should say as well, we are in no way affiliated, or there's no business kind of shenanigans going on behind the scenes. GPUsed.co.uk are not paying me in any way, shape or form. And in fact, if anything, it's cost me money because I've had to buy a graphics card, which I don't actually need. So yeah, there is that to it. But I wanted to get one of these. I did actually post some questions, and also some of you on the Discord actually asked me specific questions to ask them in terms of what the deal is for testing, etc. I've gone over that in the review video. Essentially, they've got a pretty decent testing setup. And also, I asked the question, and I think someone else asked it in the Discord as well, in terms of the warranty, what happens if you want to take it apart and actually repaste it? Now, I've actually tested this, and in terms of GPU temps, this was about 60 degrees Celsius, which for a GTX 1070 like this is absolutely fine. So it doesn't actually need repasting. And I did notice that actually on the back, the EVGA sticker has not been compromised. So it doesn't appear that this has ever been opened, so it is unmolested. And considering how old this must be, I'm trying to work out the date code, which I currently can't.
Is there a 3060M on that site?
Don't think so, no. No, there wouldn't be a 3060M. They don't do any mobile GPUs that I'm aware of. Maybe. Yeah, date-wise, I cannot see on here that there is a date.
That doesn't mean there isn't one.
No, it's probably embedded in the serial number somehow, but I don't know. But yeah, that was the question, can you take it apart? And the answer was, yes, you can take it apart, but obviously if you damage it in any way, shape or form, and the damage is evident that it was done by taking it apart, then obviously your warranty is null and void, which I guess makes total sense. And I do appreciate that they will honour a warranty if you take a card apart, which kind of they should do really. And I've never actually taken one of these apart, so I don't really know what is involved in how much is actually needed to be done. It looks like there is an absolute ton of screws there, so maybe I won't take it apart, but it looks like there is a big heat plate which goes all the way along there, which is massive. So I don't know if I actually do want to take this apart or not. I thought it would be an easy one, but it's very well built and it's very sturdy. Even though it doesn't have a metal backplate, there is a kind of metal backplate on the inside of the card which goes along all the memory and everything. But anyway, so that was my experience. Overall, very pleased.
So you ordered it in my name?
Ordered it in Kath's name, just to be clear. So it wasn't like Mike from Mike's Unboxing has done this, so yeah, it wasn't obvious
but
who or what.
Same surname, so.
Yeah, if they'd have done some investigation, then they could have probably said, oh, Kath Churchill, Mike Churchill, yeah. But I don't think that was the case. I don't think he got time to be honest. I think he's rushed off his feet. Ordered it, got an email come through saying, not sure if you're aware or not, but the GPU, as shown on the website, comes with a box, but there was an amendment to the description, which I didn't read, which said, unfortunately, the box actually has gone missing since taking the pictures, so there won't be a box, but it will be packaged appropriately. So that was confirmed on email before it was sent out, so that was good. And they did say if we find the box, then we'll forward it on to you. So if they find it, great. If they don't, whatever. I'm not particularly bothered about the box. Would have been nice to keep as an EVGA card, being kind of like the last of the dying breed. Would have been nice to have a box model, but yeah, I'm not particularly bothered about it, to be completely honest with you. So yeah, communications were excellent, told us exactly what the deal was, got the tracking numbers, etc. So you could track it, see where it was. And it turned up on Monday morning. Ordered it, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday. So over the weekend, obviously you don't take that into consideration because it's not a working day. But yeah, turned up quickly, was in great condition. I haven't cleaned it. I've done nothing to this at all, other than take it out of the packaging to test it to make sure it works. And it does look like it's basically brand new. There's no real marks to it at all. So it hasn't been taken apart, so they didn't need to change the thermal paste. So I'm assuming this was in a PC which got either very, very little work or very little use of it, or this has been cleaned exceptionally well. And looking at the screws haven't been taken apart, it doesn't appear to be. There isn't any, can't smell any like cleaning products. Sometimes people like smother these things with WD-40 or some kind of maintenance spray. It seems to be in very good condition. So yeah, very pleased. There was actually some blanking plates over the HDMI and DisplayPort outputs, which I've already mislaid. So that's on me. But yeah, it's a pretty decent thing. So my suggestion is, well, not my suggestion, my advice is, if you're looking for a used graphics card or any other used parts and you're in the UK, maybe try GPUsed.co.uk. They might have something which is suitable, they might not, but as always, whenever you're shopping around, it's always good to have an extra place to look to put into your arsenal. So when you're looking for something, you can go Facebook Marketplace, eBay, CEX, local groups, and now GPUsed.co.uk. So yeah, give it a try. And also I'd say, because I've made the video, I think it's probably going to be the only video on YouTube about it. So it is my experience and my experience only. So if you have bought anything from them, or you're planning to, leave your comments on the video as well, just so there's like some balanced and unbiased feedback. Not that mine's biased, but because it's me, I bought a card, it's a sample size of 1 so far, there's not really a lot to go on. So it'd be good if you do leave a comment in the video, good, bad, indifferent, whatever. Or if you know of any other sites which are similar, then do kind of make it known. Because ultimately it's going to be better for everyone, because it's going to be competition for this company, and it's going to be better for everyone, because if there's more places to shop around and more competitiveness, then hopefully prices will start dropping on the used market, which they really need to, because it is getting pretty awful. Anyway, right, let's have a look at the questions. And
Jan's put a picture in general chat of the CPU with the burnt paste.
Oh right, okay.
If you can look at it.
I can't without my
You
phone.
want to see mine?
Oh yeah, go on, yeah, stick on there. Right, so I'm going to look at Dutch Jan's picture. Bear with me. Hold the line caller. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's hard to say. It's almost like, well, it's a little bit out of focus, the picture, but it looks like there is an empty section, if that is at all possible. But it looks like you've got a fair amount of paste on there, because you can see it's squidged out to the outsides. So I don't know how that would have happened. Yeah, that is pretty unusual. That looks like it's, is that Noctua paste? It looks like it's Noctua paste. There's the right colour for it. Yes, very strange. If you go over to, if anyone wants to see the picture, go over to our Discord. It's in there in the general chat. Matthew Day says, and you don't know if CX has a box. You don't know if CX is going to turn up in a box. It might just turn up in an envelope. That's some scary stuff they send through. It really is. I've scrolled down too far. Skystalker says, Mike, it is really important to keep these businesses on task. Give them props for doing good stuff too. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes. Dutch Jan says, I thought it was MX4. For MX, it looks, well, from the picture, it looked very pale. It could have been the camera, but it looked very white. Normally, MX4 had a kind of very greyish colour to it, if I remember rightly. Like a very, like LCD grey. Not very well done, but it could be, don't know.
No zoot moments, were there?
No zoots, no, I haven't zooted anything up. Yet. There's always time. Let's see what else we've got here. Chris Hartford says, ordered a cheap LGA 1200 CPU from them to test some motherboards with, see how it goes. Nice one, Chris. Do let us know how you get on with that. Genuinely, like, good, bad, indifferent, whatever, please do comment, because it's all going to be helpful. Because I don't want to be turning around saying, well, yeah, it's been a fine experience for me, and then other people are having grief, or things not turning up, or not working, whatever. It's always nice to know. When we've made any videos on CX or stuff like that, because it's a massive company, we get loads and loads of feedback, good, bad, indifferent. Generally, it does seem to be predominantly on the negative side, but then I think because I posted the videos saying that the pins were bent and it was like a short, it's one of those things which catches attention, and if people have had the same thing or similar, they're obviously going to comment, because you're more likely to comment on something from a negative experience. If you get a positive experience, that's the expected norm. So you're less likely to go out of your way to comment on something if you're getting what you paid for, or the service you expect.
That's why when we used to order from Just Eat, we used to order from the worst starred ones.
All right. Right, David Aiken.
They had something to prove, didn't they, and to try and achieve better.
That's exactly right.
Whereas the good ones didn't.
Riley says, yeah, MX4 is grey. I thought it was. David Aiken says, Mike, the EVGA GTX 1070 SC should have had a backplate based on Google searches. Strange that this one doesn't. Well, I was kind of thinking that, because it has got the factory stickers there and the EVGA sticker there. So I don't think this specific model should have, but yeah, most of the SCs that I've seen previously have. And I'm not sure if this one, because this one, the SC light on the end, or is it the FTW? There's the For the Win version, and is there an SC Plus as well? I'm really confused, because I'm pretty sure the SC logo used to light up, but this one doesn't appear to have an LED by it, unless I put a torch on it.
And Nick Barnes
No,
got a question.
that's completely done. It's almost like there's a sticker on there. The EVGA GeForce GTX 1070 bit does light up. So, yeah, it's weird. And actually, shining some light on here, I've noticed inside this shroud, there is actually a reasonable amount of dust. Let me see if I can get that as a close-up. So, is that, can you see that? Yeah, you can see where I put my fingers in there. I'll get some light on it. You see that there is a bit of dust on there, so it hasn't been stripped down and cleaned to like any extreme levels. It's basically just been tested, cleaned to, like, as you can see on the top, it's there's no obvious dirt and debris. Overall, it looks quite clean, I think, personally. Let's turn that light off. Oh, that's worse. So, anyway. You can see what the deal is there. So there is a little bit of dirt in there. A bit of zoot dust. So I am tempted to get it apart now. Because weirdly, the thermal paste on this has been absolutely great. And it does seem to be holding temperatures.
Mark Berry says, my son has that same card, the GTX 1070 logo lights up in white.
That's correct, yes it does.
Been a good GPU so far. And then above, Nick Barnes asked a question.
Nick Barnes had a question. What is that question?
Can you use MS
DOS?
Laughter burner?
MSI Afterburner?
Burner. Oh, I got it now.
Can you use it for what?
To check headroom on memory and boost clock.
Yeah, I think you probably could do. Right, this has come apart a little bit too easy in my liking. So let's disconnect the fans. And
I can't believe I couldn't see that at all. MS laptop.
what is EGG?
Yeah, it was like that.
Right, thermal paste wise, this looks like it actually might have been repasted, because that is it's got a little bit of a gloopy texture to it. I'm not sure if that is what they have as stock. Actually does look quite clean, but I think we'll repaste it anyway. And just to show you the inside, so you can see that hasn't been cleaned overly, so you can see where there is a thermal pad there going across, and it's kind of started to ooze out some of the oils. And maybe that could do with replacing. The paste itself is pretty dry and it came apart very easily, so that probably does want a little bit of a clean. And there's a little bit of dust down there, not too much though. Considering how old this card potentially is, it's actually quite clean. I think there's a little bit of dust in there, not a lot. So I don't feel that it's been a bad purchase in any way, and I think if anything, it's one of those things like it hasn't cost a great deal of money. Now don't get me wrong, £100 is a lot of money, but in the grand scheme of things, when you're looking at graphics cards, if you think an RTX 4090 is the best part of £2 these days, it's towards that lower tier. Oh, this chair. So there's some doost in there. Just messing. Right. Let's get this cleaned up. So I'm going to put on the other light. So you better get the super chats in to pay for it. Did you make a cup of tea? Oh no, I'm still drinking it. So we've got a bit more light on the subject now. Let's clear the text off. Yeah, G Gordon, the 4090 is going up. It is, very much so.
J Gordon. Is that G?
JG is all the same. William Bodie says it looks more like an EVGA GeForce GTX 1070 ACX 3.0. Okay. David Aiken says all GPUs are going up. Yeah, they are. That is an unfortunate side effect. I need the other camera, don't I? Overhead, where are we? Overhead. And let's zoom in to zoot that. I might have to zoot back out a bit.
We must zoot that dust out.
Zoot.
Zoot out.
Zoot.
Zoot in.
Oh, can't do that. Come on.
Zoomy zoom.
Zootan.
Zooty.
Right. Where is good old faithful spray?
Mark Barry paid 150 a year ago for the 1070.
Yeah, well actually, I think it was almost 2 years ago now that there was a local guy on the Facebook Marketplace group who had a whole bunch of these for sale. And I think, I'm trying to think how much we paid. I think it was either 200 each or 150 each. I can't remember exactly. I do recall...
You might remember.
Yeah, Dave Aiken could probably remember, because I think he either bought one off of me or we traded some. I can't remember the exact thing. I know Matthew Day had one off me, and I did that for basically what it cost me, if not less. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. But definitely, it was... Right, let's let that settle on there, let that break down. And I'm going to get the... get that on there. Leave that to one side, that can break down.
For the old
Thanks to Dave Aiken for the what?
Oakley.
Oh yeah, yeah, thanks Dave for the alcohol. I put it in a little spritzy bottle to make it a bit more
You did.
manageable. Calf did, because otherwise I'd be spilling shit everywhere. Yeah.
Is that the right one?
Nick Barnes says they were 200, weren't they? Yeah, Dave Aiken says I bought one off you for 200. 200 each. Awesome. Yeah, that's mad, isn't it? That now, 2 years later, They're like £100.
And that was bargain back then, wasn't it?
Back then, that was a good price. So yeah, I do have a little bit of a soft spot for the GTX 1070, to be honest, because I think it was the first graphics card I had where it actually allowed me to video edit and not drop an absolute boatload of frames all the time. It was one of those things that it had CUDA cores, it had 8 gigs of RAM. Adobe Premiere really liked it, or at least it appeared to. It did, it just zooted along from A to B, got the job done, and I think I vaguely recall, I'm trying to think now, I'm pretty sure it was Far Cry 5 that came out towards the tail end of that, and I was playing at 1080p Far Cry 5 when it had just come out, and I'm pretty sure we were getting something like 120 FPS.
Okay.
So it was good times all round. And I think it was one of those things where if I wanted to, I could knock it up to 1440p, because at that point I did have my 1440p monitor, and we could still just about get 100 FPS if I knocked down some of the detail settings. So it was a great card and served me exceptionally well. And in fact, when I went from the 1070 to the 2060, it was basically pointless. Neo-Pagan says, "Hi Mike and chat, have recently watched your video on MSI B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. Will this work out of the box with a X370 X3D? I don't think it will. I'm not too sure if the X3D actually does need a BIOS update just because it's got a cache on. I think it still sees it as a 7800, but I could be wrong. Maybe if anyone else in the chat knows the details on that. I don't think it supports, well, it depends how old the stock is the age-old question of like what the deal is there. You might find this absolutely fine, but I would edge on the side of caution and say that potentially it won't. So I would flash it first of all. Hey Popstar! Right, just going to give this a little bit of a wipe down. It's actually not in bad condition, to be fair. And interesting fun fact, Matthew Day had one of those GTX 1070s off me, and at the time of this video airing, I'm pretty sure he still hasn't used it. Oh, and there we go. Good job. Your stand goal has been achieved, even though I'm sat down. Well done.
Wow.
Wow, says Poppy.
Mind the camera, Poppy.
Jeepers.
I can do it.
Poppy, do it. No, Babs? Sorry, just making anyone who is from Birmingham, making you feel at home there.
Oh, we always call her Babs.
Sorry. Right, that is that side of it done. Let's get this one cleaned up now. Okay, not in particularly bad shape, to be fair.
Daisy.
And I think most of that will wipe off. Yeah, that has solidified on there. Look at that bit, just yeah, that has really chunked off. Which is actually a testament to how good these coolers are, because even though the thermal paste had solidified very much, still only got to 60 odd degrees, and when I did the benchmarks it performed basically bang on where it's supposed to be, so it was in the good range, or kind of average to good. And yeah, depending on how old this actual card is, that is not too bad at all. So that's all nice and cleaned up, so we can get some thermal paste onto the GPU now. And this is the bit that is going to trigger the bejesus out of a lot of people. Now for this, I am actually going to use...
People don't seem so triggered by that as what they used to.
Noctua NTH2. The reason behind this is because this paste is actually a little bit thicker. That's right, Poppy, it is. Alright, it's not that much thicker. Stuart Cleary says, would it be worth waiting for Black Friday to order some parts for a PC flip? Well, it depends what it is you're actually looking to buy. As is always the thing, it depends what it is you're after. Now, things like your everyday stuff, hard drives, memory, cases to some extent, are probably going to be on offer, because those are the things which generally are available at pretty decent prices. And also there's an absolute glut of them on the market at the moment, so chances are they will, as always, be on offer. It's the things which are either limited stock or just basically unobtainium, which are the things to look out for. Those are the ones that you're going to be paying more attention to, because like graphics cards, although there is reasonable availability, the graphics cards that people actually really want, you can't get, at least not at sensible prices. So like your 4070 Ti's, your 4080s, 4090s, all of them shot up in price. So it depends what it is you're waiting for, is my my advice. O'Reilly says, at the moment I'm smelling Arctic thermal paste cleaner, individual sealed wipes. Oh, it is a powerful stink I have to sleep next to. Oh dear. Rick H says, looks like a good card, Mike. Yeah, I think so. I think it will. I think it will be.
Thoughts on Apple Watches?
Thoughts on Apple Watches? For me, I think it's a tough one. I like Apple Watches personally, and I think of all of the smartwatches on the market, I think that the Apple ecosystem has done far better than any other in terms of the kind of it just works mentality. I've suffered through numerous different Android devices and numerous different Fitbit trackers, and they all fail. They all have issues, and to be honest, if it wasn't for Fitbit, a lot of the early days of this channel, we probably wouldn't have got anywhere near the income that we did, because the early days was basically everybody like, right, why does my Fitbit not work? Why does my Fitbit stop working? How do I reset my Fitbit? Because people were sending them back faulty and leaving all their data on them, or leaving them with their passwords signed in, which meant, much like Apple devices, if you leave your device with the passwords in, it's basically useless for anybody else, because you can't like unpair it without removing it from the account. So when Fitbit was like super popular, it was like people wanted to know, why can't I do it? Why can't I use my device? I bought this Fitbit and I can't use it at all. And it was very much like we caught the wave right at the right time. Was it, Poppey? Right, I'm going to try and reconnect this, hopefully on camera. Although I don't think my stubby little fingers are going to do it.
But yeah, I'm very well since wearing it again.
No, to be completely honest, without being a funny-hatted person, since I've put my watch back on, my health has suffered. Now, I don't know if there's anything at all in the kind of the electromagnetic radiation thing. I'm not a doctor, that's above my pay grade. All I will say is this last week, since I've put my Apple Watch back on, my health has been noticeably worse than usual. But having said that, I have been going through extra stresses this week, such as the cat giving birth and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, there's various reasons why my health may not be on top form. Coincidence isn't always the cause, if you understand what I mean. So actually, I'm going to put a bit more thermal paste on there. There's a little bit left over there. Maybe some people are just affected by electromagnetic radiations, some more than others. I don't know. I really don't. Doesn't help, I suppose, the time of year and all that stuff. I think everyone gets a little bit down and a bit dreary, and especially if you live in a country where you've had no summer, or very little summer. Sunlight and all that is very important to human beings. And I need to line that up. Oh, I can't see the connections there. Nope. Oh, I've zooted this right up. Why is that not fitting in there? Can't see the screw holes. Or am I right over them? That's why I can't see them. No, it's not. Nowhere near. Why is that not fitting back on there? Oh, now it's all stuck together. Does that bit go inside there, on top of there? Right, that metal bracket goes on the top of there, I'm pretty sure. And that slots in, because that's like a protection on there, I'm sure of it. So that should fit now. Doesn't seem to want to go far enough in. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Ah, there we go. Just need a little bit of a push. So yeah, that got to go right inside of there. So I'm actually going to see if I've messed that up, and maybe a little bit. Right, I'm going to try and squirt a little bit more thermal paste in there in the hope that it will squish out. Luckily with GPUs you can actually use too much paste and it's fine. So I'll get that out there, that's right the way in. And there we go, that is almost perfect. Almost. Happy days. Let's turn it off. Let's get these screws back in. Some cards can be a little bit fiddly for the old thermal paste. Oh, come on. Right, got one screw in. That's a start. That's better. We'll get there. Stuart Cleary says, defo too much Wi-Fi radiation, I think. I'm hardwiring everything. The trouble is, unless you live in a house where your your neighbours are in the same kind of ballpark with you, you're basically going to be counteracting your efforts with what's going on in theirs.
And then you've got it all in your street lights and stuff.
Yeah, we've got a street lamp literally outside of our bedroom window, which has got a transponder built into it. So even when we're sleeping, we're kind of right next to allegedly bad things. Which I don't know if they are or not. That's above my pay grade. Right, so there we go. We are done. We have new thermal compound, and it's a little bit cleaner. I was concerned, and I thought that fan stopped a little bit too soon. Oh. No, they look about the same. Excellent stuff. Right, there we go. That is the graphics card repasted. I will put it back into the machine at some point and actually see if that's going to make any difference at all. Like I said, the temps on this were great anyway. So it's not going to be like a night and day thing. I can't imagine it being much under 60 degrees anyway. I think it was 60 or 62, I think it was, which is like, if you compare it with modern GPUs or more modern GPUs, those are consistently hitting kind of hot spots of 80 degrees on the RAM and like 60, 70, 80 for the actual GPU itself. Okay, right, let's chuck that away. There's Poppy Dora.
Come in.
Right, what's in the kitchen? I need something to eat, I think. Do you want a pork and pie, Kath?
No, thank you.
I'm going to have a pickle pie. I'm hungry. Nice. It's nice having such a small house. So it means the kitchen is very nearby. So I'm going to have one of these bad boys.
You in yet, Pops? Come on then.
One of my favourite little treats. Co-ops, ready to eat, mini pork and pickle and cheese pies. Absolutely great. Sadly, I can quite often nail these the whole pack in one go, but normally we have one each.
No, we
well,
never ever have one each.
We have
Two at least.
windows are open, scaring the neighbours.
Oh, big mine.
Very good. Try that a bit. Needs more jelly. Very good.
They're a bit like drier.
Barry says, "That Mike, send one my way. I am peckish."
Does that GPU have RGB William asks?
No, the GPU has just white. Just white LED on the front.
Barry says thanks because he can do his sons. Come on, Pops, it's cold. Just get that window shut. No, I'm not a scratching post. Nor is my chair. I'm not jumping across there.
Dave Underhill says, as a radio ham, the few milliwatts from the Wi-Fi is nothing. I have a 400 watt amp going into a massive antenna. Now the interest, I would suggest, well, the questions I would have then is, what is your health like? And also, is it on the same frequency? Like in terms of the output, is it microwave frequencies, or I know nothing about those things, how they work, so gigahertz, megahertz, gigawatts, whatever, I don't know. There we go. William Bodie says Mike now needs a beard to become beard meets food. I prefer face meets food. There we go. These are so dry. They're not normally this bad.
They are.
I'm never eating those again. Till tomorrow. Antonio says, dang it, Mike. Now I have to get something sweet. I was going to get something sweet, but...
We got Pops and mini rolls.
Oh. Mini rolls.
Raspberry.
Raspberry mini rolls. The king of mini rolls. Stuart says, nice job, Mike. No worries. Thank you very much. Yeah, make our houses into Faraday cages and run Cat 5 into it.
I'll use my
And
microwave
lose
as
the
well.
use of your telephone.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Sounds like the way forward. David says, my health is okay. Good to hear it. Low HF frequencies. And I save on electricity bill as I glow in the dark. That is an energy saving tip. Make yourself irradiated or radiated or whatever the phrase is, and you don't need to turn the lights on when you need to go for a pee in the night.
If you find thermal pads in GPU, should you renew them?
Thermal pads, I would only really replace thermal pads if they are beginning to separate or break down. if they've still got a reasonable amount of flexibility to them and they're not like leaking oil, then I would reuse them.
Do you want me to get
Most memory, the actual transfer through thermal pads isn't great. So it's not like you get a high performance cooling pad or gel and it's going to make it necessarily better or anything. They kind of, it's almost just like making a contact to pass it through. Truck Fan says, question, have you had any Hoover bloopers recently? No, nothing I can think of. The Hoover had a day off this week, one day. I think it was when the Kittens came. Yeah, if they aren't playing Deepwater Horizon or have rabbit holes in them, you're fine. Antonio says, will I see the difference in performance between a 7600 and a 14700 KF? Difference in price is almost 280 euros. I'm not entirely sure. The 7600 I feel is a pretty good processor in terms of price and what it does. The 14th gen seems to not be great, although the 14700 KF is probably the one to go for because you've got the extra efficiency cores. But I think from most of the reviews it seems that unless you've got a specific use case, then the efficiency cores aren't really much use. For just general gaming purposes, the efficiency cores are kind of useless. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't get a 14700 KF personally. I think if anything, I would probably go low and actually go like a 13500, 13600. Those are going to be great value now. Ashley Strachan, what's everyone's thoughts about Windows 11? Still running 10 due to lots of old games failing over in 11. Any benefits yet? There's not really any benefits as such. The only real benefit is the fact that you're going to get security updates and patches for Windows 11 now, whereas Windows 10 effectively for the mainstream consumer is kind of dead in the water. So you're going to start losing out, and as things go on, things are going to be more optimized towards 11. Really, if you've got 10 and you like it, carry on using it. It's not going to change. You will still get some security patches and stuff, but it's yeah, it's one of those things. If you like it, great. If you don't, change it. I personally like using 11, and for that reason, more so because of obviously what we doing the videos. If we make all the videos on Windows 10, there's going to be people saying, well, what about Windows 11? But weirdly, we don't get the opposite. So when we do like a how-to or anything, we show how it's done. It's always done in Windows 11 now, has been for the last year or so. I've never ever had someone say, how do I do that in Windows 10? But when I did the last of the Windows 10 how-to videos, people were asking, how do you do that in Windows 11? But I said it's basically the same. So yeah, strange situation. I prefer Windows 11 myself personally, even though it does have its quirks. Don't get me wrong, it does have some things which really annoy me, but then Windows 10 did as well. I think it wasn't in, well, Windows 7 I think was the last operating system which actually felt like it was designed as an operating system to be used in both professional and home environments, and it blurred the lines between it beautifully. Whereas now, I don't know, it's it seems that with the ongoing like AI evolution or revolution or whatever, it seems that more and more of that AI stuff is just being pumped into Windows, and I don't know if it really needs it. It is kind of helpful, I suppose, but AI at the moment, I feel personally, is more of a gimmick for producing memes and weird images, and for making like weird creative content about how the AI reacts, rather than actually being a genuinely usable tool for the home user. There are going to be some things, but there are reasonably niche. For students is great. It's like, write me a thesis on such and such using 1200 words or whatever. That sort of thing is going to be okay. Obviously it's going to need to be proofread and checked and stuff for consistency and accuracy. Once it does that pretty comfortably, I think it's going to be a useful tool. But it's more for, I suppose it's very much like the idea of a like a microwave oven or the modern calculator. It's just doing a task for you quicker, or automating a task. So I think that is the the real thing about it. Like, asking AI to write a story that you can tell your child about a castle and a hero and a sword. Apparently it can do that. Or create an image of a 70s beach with a robot, and it can kind of do those things. But for me, I don't know, it's very much a gimmick. There are going to be some things that obviously AI is going to do, like Google, the algorithm behind the Google search and all that kind of stuff is kind of effectively AI. So there is going to be that to it. There are going to be some uses for it in like industry and stuff, for testing. But whether or not, I don't think it needs to be integrated in Windows. I definitely don't think it needs to be integrated in Bing. Copilot is one of those things which is like, why? I don't really need it. We had Cortana, and we had all those other home assistants, the Google one, the Amazon one, the Samsung one, and they're all okay at doing certain things. Like, there's some things they can do relatively well, but more times than not, it's just they are almost like a text-to-speech thing. So like, if you say in the morning, set me an alarm for such and such, so yes, I've set you an alarm for such and such. It's just basically giving you an interface. Especially with AI, with making up Excel spreadsheets or databases. It's great for that because not everybody knows how those sort of things work. So if you say to one of these AI assistants, make me a database for this, this and this, you can really tune it and twist it to make it work for you. Whereas if you actually have to sit in front of Excel or whatever and plan it all out yourself, you'd be like, ooh, damn. Or websites as well, making website code. Very good for that sort of thing. Rick H says Google search is crap now due to AI. It's actually quite sad because Google search for me I find to be actually okay. I find Bing to be the most horrendous search engine.
What are you looking for?
Well, I think it's just, in general, it just, you can do it now. I don't even want to open it, but I'm going to do it.
But there's a lot of things health-wise that I'd look at.
I'm not sure if
don't
I'm...
appear anymore. That used to always be on there, like low-carb eating and stuff.
Oh, sorry. Gosh darn it, go away. Right, let's drag that over to that side. Right. I'm going to try something now.
No, you're not.
No, I'm not. It looks like there might be a super thing. Super thing. Oh, I've got to click on the other darn button now. Where's the button? There we go. Who's that from? David Aiken, £5. Even an unplanned Saturday stream is worth the watch. Cheers, Mike and Kath and Kittens. General tech rambling is sometimes what we need after a busy week. I agree. This is like the pub that doesn't exist, but it exists in my head. The Mike's Unbox Inn, where you can go in, where you can go in and chat nonsense about tech and have a pint. And not have to have eye-to-eye contact. Truck fan says, a few streams ago you said that at one point you had a PC with a vodka problem. What the zoot was that? I don't know what that was. I'm not too sure. Right, I'm going to try this now in the Edge browser. So bear with me on this.
What you can try.
So, Edge browser, I'm in private one, so it's going to do all that kind of nonsense. So it doesn't know who I am. So what I want is hardware monitor.
Don't know who you are.
So hardware monitor. So actually, this here hasn't done too bad. I'm going to have to accept that nonsense. So for once...
Do you accept it, not reject it?
It doesn't matter because I'm in private. So here, the first one that's come up is actually the right site. So CPUid.com software's hardware monitor. So that's fine. If I scroll down through CPUid, so that looks all okay. Hardware monitor, hardware monitor. This actually doesn't look too bad. So bizarrely, this is...
But then you're looking for a specific thing, aren't you?
No, but this is something which I know which I've done before, and it's thrown up absolutely horrendous links. So, how long is it going to take me before I get to a dodgy link? I'm looking here for a dodgy link, because quite often... Right, there we go. So, hardware monitor download. So, hardwaremonitor.en.lo4d.com. That is not the right domain, but it is appearing to be the right thing. So this is probably a little bit of a stretch, but what I'm trying to say is quite often the links are wrong or basically just misleading. So that hasn't gone well in my instance, because quite often I do that, especially in the Bing search, and it just comes up with all these links. Like click on this to download it, and it's not the right link at all. So let's try something else. Let's try MSI Afterburner.
Laughter.
Yeah.
MS Laughter.
So that's actually come up okay. So that's come up with the MSI.com landing Afterburner, which is the correct URL. So that is fine. And those look genuine. So actually this looks okay. MSI UK, yes. That looks genuine. Guru 3D, that's fine. Yeah, so to be fair, they've actually done a reasonable job there. So I will shut up. That looks absolutely fine.
For actual information that you knew was on there before.
Yeah, there's information which has been taken away. So there is things which, if you search for that you've seen before, yeah, a lot of health stuff's been removed, like pork pie. I don't know why that didn't work. Well, maybe it's getting better. I wonder. Edge. You do a search for Microsoft Edge, and it comes up with a Google link. Download an enterprise browser. Get a safer business browser. https://chromeenterprise.google.com. Nice. Good work, Microsoft. Ridiculous. Oh, I'm not on that page anyway. Right, I'm going to give up on that. So I'll look at some more questions then. I'll give up. Truck fan, have you had any recent shipping damage shenanigans? No, I don't think so. No, I think we've been okay with shipping damage. Skystalker says, honestly, I do not care what browser I use. I guess I'm just a simp, as long as it works with the site I'm visiting. Yeah, I used to use Internet Explorer almost religiously, all the time, up until just before we started the YouTube channel. I'm trying to think exactly how long, about a year or so before, so about six years ago, maybe more. I used Internet Explorer all the time. I didn't want to install another piece of software on my PC, so I never installed Chrome, never used a Chrome browser. I was using, probably at the time, either an Apple phone or my Microsoft phone. It wasn't until I probably went over to Android, then I would have more than likely used Chrome then, because obviously Google Chrome, etc., and synchronizing it all. But yeah, I was always using it. Internet Explorer was always my browser of choice. I loved it, and people were like, oh, you should use Chrome, it's great. And for a long time, it was absolutely, it was like, well, I don't need to, it's fine. But I did get to a point where I found the search engine was basically junk. So I changed my default homepage to be Google anyway. So it didn't really make much difference, but there was like a turning point where it seemed that the search results were getting really skewed under Internet Explorer. And I could open up Internet Explorer and Chrome, type in exactly the same things, and they'd both come up with completely different answers. And the Google one was always, the right answer was in like the top 3 or 4, whereas the Microsoft one was just paid stuff all the time, like links, adverts and stuff. And I just thought, no, I can't be doing this anymore. Even though it was using the same homepage, it would bring up weird results. So yeah, I ditched it. Firefox is rebranding as Mozilla. Truck fan, how do you do the whole box zooting Tetris thing? The Tetris boxing is one of my most hated things. I don't like it at all. It's horrendous. Right, it is coming up towards 11 o'clock, so we are gonna, I think, wrap this up because I think we've answered all the questions. It's one of these really dreary nights, isn't it? There's not a lot going on in tech-wise. Very disappointing 14th gen launch this week, and also the Great Rabbit Edition graphics cards with AMD trying to wring some more money out of a dying horse. It's just nuts. Letter says, the stupid heart on the bottom keeps on covering up words. It should be at the top of the page.
Ow.
Yeah, that's Google. They'll get rid of it soon. They'll lose interest with it. Yeah, I think that is going to be pretty much it. Hopefully there'll be more news during the week and something a little more exciting for next week's stream. And hopefully the kittens will be able to be shown on the stream a little bit. They might even be walking around. But how long do they take to start walking? Is it a week or so?
Well, they're walking really now, aren't they? Crawling.
Or crawling, yeah.
They get quite far.
We'll see.
I can't remember. Their eyes should open this week.
Nick Barnes, question mark, do you still use the iMu exterior battery powered camera? Any thoughts on reliability? Yeah, it's still going. In actual fact.
There it is.
What's that? What is that? The mic's unboxed in?
Yeah. Where is that? I recognise that.
It's Dining Park. No, it sounds like. I'm going to try and wake up my camera. I don't want to give away any information which is on here, so I may or may not be able to do this. Activating device. And where is the light? Where's the light button? I keep on changing this. Yeah, so that is the backyard camera. Hopefully you can just about see that. So that is still working. That's the battery powered one. Currently in IR mode. Makes the battery last longer. And yeah, currently, actually it's a good job you said that because the battery is down to 33%. But the Wi-Fi signal is strong. So yeah, I think it's pretty decent. I'm kind of wishing that they would have sent the solar charging pit. There's like an add-on solar charger, so you can plug it in on the USB-C and it keeps the battery going. But yeah, that is just on recharge, so every couple of months I'll go out there, take the battery out, bring it in, charge it up 100%, stick it back in. And the last time I did that, I reckon it's got to be, it was some point this year, but I would struggle to guess when. I would probably say it's before the plants started growing in the garden, because I couldn't actually get to it before because there's plants growing in front of it. So it's probably a good 4 months, maybe 5 months. And it gets activated all the time because the cats are obviously walking up and down the garden. So yeah, it's pretty good. Not bad at all. Nick Byron says, thanks Mike, 67 quid on Amazon with the solar panel. Well, that's pretty good. That is actually good. With the solar panel, I think that makes a big difference because I've got it so that when it's activated, the light doesn't come on, only the infrared. I think the light would drain it a little bit more. But anyway, awesome stuff. Time change coming soon. Yeah, next weekend. Next weekend. This time next week on the Saturday night as we go into Sunday, then the clocks will go backwards a little bit. So, is that yours?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Anyway, I'm waffling on now. So thank you all so much for joining us on this Saturday night. Sorry we couldn't see more of the kittens. It is unfortunately one of those things. I'm not going to force them to be on camera because that's just cruel to animals. We wouldn't do that. But thank you all for your contributions.
The kittens would mind being honest.
Yeah, the kittens will be alright. Poppey would be the defensive one, yeah. Thank you all for your super chats and your kind donations and your constant support of the channel. It is much appreciated. And actually on Monday there is a slightly special video. Well, it's not special, it's just different. Because things have been relatively quiet, I literally filmed going to get the car MOT'd. It's very boring. And in fact, we did another video recently as well on how to clean up foggy headlamps, which as the winters come in might be very beneficial to some people. So yeah, we're experimenting with all kinds of things. Hopefully there'll be some more interesting stuff coming on computer wise. It is slowly trickling in, but yeah, trying to get a video out every day is proving to be somewhat troublesome with actually making it worthwhile or something which is actually beneficial and interesting. So anyway, I'm going to move on. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you've had a good Saturday evening and we will catch you next week if we don't see you in the videos during the week. So I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching. And now I have to find the button. I actually did have this thing which Skystalker sent ages ago, which I've been meaning to attach to the desk so I can actually turn things on and off. Anyway, that's another story. Let's find the right button on here to end this stream. So have a nice weekend guys, and we'll see you very soon.